I don't want to alarm anyone. I don't want anybody to get too excited.
Alarm.
But there's NFL football on the television tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. How's everybody? Happy Thursday. Hope you're well. Hope you're just out there kicking enormous amounts of booty, my friends. I am Rob Brown. Across from me on the other side of the metaphorical glass, this AM and all AMs, the gentleman in charge of every radio show that you like and some of the ones that you don't. Colonel Grudge, hashtag Dad Kicks, the Sultan of Swag, the Professor of Perfection, the Wizard of Wave, the Content Cash Cow himself, the Great Alonzo is here as well. What up, Zoe?
So I want to hit the thing, but man, I'm starting to get some hate every time I play the cart wall, and I don't want there's starting to be friction, and I don't.
Lonzo is a superstar.
I mean, it's true, but I don't want that kind of friction.
How would I have friction? Lonzo is a superstar.
Lonzo is a superstar.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah. So the thing moved and it was in between carts, and so that's why I was a little slow on the draw there.
Yeah. What a day we got lined up, kids. We've got a lot of stuff we need to get into.
Hey, turning your hazards on, it still makes no sense. Stop doing that. Okay? Leave your headlights on. That's more important.
Yeah, just leave your regular lights on. We can see you. All right? All your hazards do is make me think that you are stopped in the road.
Yeah, it causes more problems than it helps, and it was pretty rough. And I guess it's still rolling through because we're still we will keep you up to date on the weather. So be careful, and that is some mean lightning. I just got to tell you. Driving in a metal box and seeing all the electricity going around you it's so much fun.
The power at the station went out this morning, right? Let me tell you how it worked. I walked in, I sat down, I took out, so I carry my European satchel with my laptop and my tablet and all my supplies in it, right? My papers, all that. Because any successful guy has papers.
I sat down. I pulled the stuff out. I put it on I put my laptop down on the desk, and we have a little docking station on our desk that we plug a USB-C into our laptop, and it connects to the extra multiple monitors on our desk. So we still work off the laptop, but now we have 3 monitors to go off of. I sat down, Zoe. I plugged in the cord that connects the laptop to the docking station, and when I do, power goes out to the whole station. I was like, nope, not taking the heat on this. I mean, click, whole station goes off, and I just hear from down the hall, what the bleep? I was like, I'm going to hope this is weather related.
Yeah, because you see all those movies where people have they're plugging way too many things into one outlet, and then the breaker goes off. Yeah, I think we're bigger than that, but I could see why you would think that right when you did that.
Immediately panicked. I was like, I broke radio.
When you think everything's all your fault already, and then coincidentally something happens simultaneously. Yeah,
Kept waiting to hear from Captain America down the hall. What did you do? I didn't do it, man.
I wish you would have done that because that would have played right into that. So he's busy going all over the place fixing things because the power going off kind of messed some stuff up.
Yeah, it kind of messed everything
Which is probably why the printer didn't work. I didn't think. He kept saying there was a jam and there was no jam. So, I mean,
Here's what I know, ladies and gentlemen. What I know is we got a lot of stuff we got to talk about on the radio broadcast today. We are going to have Rashad Beard. He is joining us at a different time today. He'll be with us at 10 a.m. He has a 9:30 meeting with what I assume is the CIA.
Yeah, because, I mean, you got those, I'm guessing they're pretty prompt. And so then afterwards, he's free before he heads to Europe or someplace like that. So.
Well, I mean, we have no idea. He'd have to kill us if he told us.
I was speculating. I don't know for sure, so please don't come at me.
We will have Rashad Beer join us at 10. It's Thursday. You know what that means. Coming up at 11:20, it's time for Fight Club with the great one. We're going to take a look into the world of boxing, MMA, and professional wrestling. And so I suspect we're at no shortage of topics in Fight Club today.
So I'm looking at what's trending and apologize to Lisa's trending is like, what did I do? what the heck did I do?
You also broke it. We'll talk Fight Club coming up at 11:20 this morning.
We got firsthand experience that we're going to get to talk about how someone broke someone and sent them to the hospital. But we'll get to that.
By God, that's Rob Brown's music. That's coming up later in the show. We have got some pretty big news on the NIL front today that we've got to get to, as Texas A&M has made a massive change to their NIL structure. We're going to talk about that. ACC, as of right this moment, will not be expanding any further. Last night, ACC leadership got together and had a little discussion about the potential of adding Cal, the potential of adding Stanford, the potential of adding SMU to the Atlantic Coast Conference. And we're not saying it's over, but it does appear to have fizzled out a bit.
Hey, you remember last Friday when we were, told that some teams were not joining the Big Ten, and then by Monday they were in the Big Ten? I'm just saying.
I agree that I'm not writing it off as a possibility. I am going to, however, say I feel like there's a little more weight to this, and I do have good reason for that. And I'll tell you what it is later on in the radio broadcast. I did find it. I want to get to this real quick because this kind of blew my mind a little bit. There are, as of now, in Power 5 football, there are 69 nice Power 5 football teams. Thank you, Gronk.
You know what I mean.
Gronk. I love Gronk. I do. There are 69 Power 5 football teams, Lonzo. This year, 43 of them, that is 62.3% of all Power 5 football teams. 62.3% of those teams will have a starting quarterback who is a transfer into the program.
Free agency going well.
Florida State, Syracuse, Louisville, Pittsburgh, Virginia, NC State, Virginia Tech, Texas, TCU, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Houston, UCF, BYU, Oklahoma State, Cincinnati, Wisconsin, Purdue, Maryland, Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, Northwestern, Indiana, USC, Washington, Oregon, Utah, Washington State, Arizona, Oregon State, UCLA, Colorado, Arizona State, Cal, LSU, Kentucky, South Carolina, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Florida, Auburn, and Notre Dame. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. 2.
All right. Yeah, I guess that is 2, isn't it? Hey, but it's Thursday.
All of those teams will have a quarterback who is transferred into their program. 7 of the 14 ACC teams, 9 of the 14 Big 12 teams, 8 of the 14 Big 10 teams, 11 of the 12 Pac-12 teams, and 7 of the 14 SEC teams will have transfer quarterbacks. That is 50% or more of quarterbacks in all Power 5 programs will have a transfer quarterback, more than 50% in 3 of them, and 11 out of 12 in the Pac-12 will be transfer quarterbacks.
So this goes to prove that the old adage that's always been there about rooting for your team and not the player in college, it's probably the move to make, because you keep that player, he may not be there next year.
I mean, maybe. First off, it's always been that way.
I know, but it started to go away from that a little bit, I think.
I know. I think it wasn't that way in the beginning when everybody was recruiting kids from within the state. But when we decided to start using airplanes for recruiting, it got away from us, and then it became fan of school over fan of players.
I know when players leave Clemson, they automatically hate those guys. Does that work at every school? When a guy who's been at your school and then he suddenly goes somewhere else? I've seen it at Clemson, but I don't know about anywhere else.
You said that one day about former Clemson quarterback DJ Uiagalelei, and the text line blew up at you from Clemson fans or alleged Clemson fans.
Yeah, that was funny.
Saying, I've got no ill will. I wish him nothing but the best. It didn't work out. That's okay.
Prime example of triggering. It was, it worked really well. So feel free to do that again. 71307.
CarPros.com text line. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. Feel free to always text and tell Lonzo why he's wrong. So
yeah, if you're cursing at me, I don't have the text line up, so Rob can.
I do.
Be a little more
I'll read
selective. Yeah, I just don't.
I will point out that there are a few schools where non-transfers could potentially land the job. Dante Moore at UCLA, Trent Bourget at Arizona State, Brandon Sorsby at Indiana. Those three schools have not named a starting quarterback, but there are some schools that could see a transfer jump from QB2 to QB1. Zach Pyron at Georgia Tech, Brady Cook at Mizzou, and Jalen Milroe at Alabama are all in quarterback competitions that a transfer could win. So that number could actually end up being higher, could actually be closer to 64%. Then we go one step further and look at QB power ratings. Now, I've looked at a couple of different sites, but depending on how I brought together the rankings, of the top 7 quarterbacks, in my opinion, in the top 7 quarterbacks in Power 5 football this year, Lonzo, 6 of them are transfers. Of the top 25 quarterbacks in college football this year, 17 of them are transfers, which means that the probability that this year's Heisman Trophy winner is a transfer quarterback is probably about, 95%. Because that award goes to quarterbacks now, right? The Heisman's a quarterback award at this point. A non-quarterback winning it can happen, but it is the exception, not the rule. And with that being said, 6 of the top 7 QBs, 17 of the top 25 are all transfers. Here's all I'm going to say. This is now established. If you don't know how to work the portal, you can't win. It's that simple to me.
I am curious, and I'm trying to find the stats if they're out there somewhere. How many transfer quarterbacks actually win where they transfer to? I know we've had some success stories like Joe Burrow and guys like that, but how many of these guys transfer somewhere else and you just don't hear from them again?
That is a good question. I would start with, let's be honest, there are a lot of transfers. I just gave you the list of schools. I'm not going to do it again because I might pass out if I try to go through that list again. But, Lonzo, quick, name me the quarterback at Texas Tech or Houston or UCF or BYU or Oklahoma State or Cincinnati or Wisconsin or Purdue.
Hey, listen, I can't even name you the quarterback at Ohio State right now. So don't,
Right. Who, by the way, is not a transfer. But the point
there were
here
2
is,
guys fighting for the job, and I don't know.
I think both of them are homegrown.
Yeah.
Point is, I get that, and you're right. I would be very interested in looking up the success rate of transfers versus one school guys. But I would also point out that you don't know the quarterback at, 55 of the 69 Power 5 schools.
Neither do you. So
correct. That wasn't a shot.
Okay, yeah,
that wasn't a shot at all.
I know a couple of quarterbacks have left Clemson and they were not successful other places. So I don't know how often they're successful.
But I would also point out that I would consider successful Scratch that. It depends on what you consider successful, right? Like, I think you have to decide what you consider success, because here's my thought.
Well, not on the bench would be one, because most of these guys will leave. A majority are leaving because they were on the bench.
Bingo.
So they go. Do they start where they go?
Exactly right. I would say that for a lot of these cats, playing time is success. Just getting on the field is success. Because if I'm the third string QB at Ohio State and I'm a junior and I know I'm never going to touch the football under Ryan Day, but I can go to Purdue and get the start, yeah, I'm going to go. And I'm going to consider starting in a Power 5 school a success.
Or LSU. We'll throw that out there.
Sure.
I'm not starting at Ohio State. Maybe I'll go to LSU.
Absolutely. Joey Burrow. Exact situation, right? Joey B was not going to get PT at OSU. So he flew down to Baton Rouge. He went to Red Stick. He became a Bayou Bengal. And I'd say worked out pretty damn well for Joey B.
They didn't do bad.
Nah. Just put together arguably the greatest offense in the history of college football. That's all he did, right? So I would make the argument that for some guys, success is just getting PT. It's just getting on the field. It's just getting to play a little bit. For other guys, that bar might be a little bit higher, right? You might we're going to be the starter at, I don't know, NC State. Devin Leary. Devin Leary's a good quarterback, right? The thing that scares me about South Carolina v. Kentucky this year is Devin Leary at UK under Stoops' offense, because he's a quarterback guy. If Devin Leary can get the guy, can be the guy at Kentucky, that offense actually might score more touchdowns than we're giving it credit for. But Devin Leary would not have done that under Dave Doran at NC State. That's why he left. That's a defensive team. Now he goes to a wide open offense under Stoops.
I can't start at NC State, so I'm going to go to the powerhouse of Kentucky.
Again.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want, listen, let me put it this way, Lonzo. Our sister station over across the hall, bigger station, more awards, more power, more advertising revenue. These are all things that are true, right? But here's the thing. If Rob Brown wants to be successful in radio, doing what Rob Brown wants to do, what station is it smarter for me to be on? A growing station like the Fan Upstate, a station that we are constantly working to make bigger and better, despite the fact that we're up against that. I don't say up against a station like hostile, but we're sitting next to a how many times South Carolina Broadcasters Association Station of the Year winner?
It's been a couple.
It's been a lot.
Yeah.
We're up against them. But this is where I need to be for me to have success, right? For me to get where I want to go and accomplish and be the best player I can be.
See,
the station.
I'm not sure that's a good comparison. I think if you went to I hear there are other sports stations around here. I tell that there are. If you were to go to another one of those and think that you're going to win over there against us, that would be, because you're not. So, I mean, I think that's more of a.
I get it. I get what you're saying.
Hey, look, what's that hanging in the window over there? You ain't getting that going somewhere else. That's all I'm saying. Well, you might. I
might. You never know. I'm good. I'm like Devin Leary. Point is, Devin Leary's in a better spot now than he was at NC State. Spencer Rattler's in a better spot now than he was at Oklahoma.
Is he in a better spot, though? I mean, he has a better opportunity
for himself.
That's yeah. I mean. But as far as, I mean, reputation of school and wins over time and stuff like that, some people consider it a step down when he went to South Carolina.
But Spencer Rattler, had he stayed at OU, right, would have been playing for a defensive coordinator who has a head coach's whistle now and would have won 6 games last year. Actually, I don't know if they'd have won 6 games with him at QB, right? Respectfully. They weren't that good. And Spence took some time under an offensive-minded, well, Shane Beamer's really kind of a neutral coach, but under an offensive-minded coach to really find his groove. You think Brent Venables would have brought out the best in Spencer Rattler? Probably not. So even though, yes, Oklahoma is more prestigious of a football program than South Carolina, for Spencer Rattler, he's in a dramatically better position in Columbia than he would have been in Norman. I just find it, I find it impressive. Like, I know, there's a lot of transfer quarterbacks. But to look at the list and see that well north of 50% actually, by the end of it, if, again, a couple more transfers win their quarterback jobs, Zach Pyron, Brady Crook, Jalen Milroe are the top three. If all three of those guys win the starting QB role at their respective schools, Lonzo, 2/3 of college football quarterbacks at the Power 5 level will be transfers. See, I don't have a problem with that, though. I don't have an issue with that at all, because it tells me that guys are finding positions, places, roles, schools that are better for them. I am not a fan of you sign a contract and that's it. And if it doesn't work out, or you get screwed, or your head coach leaves, or they find, the next 5-star guy steps in, you're sorry, ride the pine for 3 years because you made a decision when you were 17 years old, 16 years old.
If you were better, you'd be starting. I mean,
right, but they're not. So they're not going to.
All right.
It is the reason I don't have I don't have an issue when guys start at a station I'm working out and then leave for a different opportunity, because you're not beating me for this job. So I'm happy for you if you go somewhere that you will.
Not happy, just go away.
Whoa! All right, we got to run to a break. We're just all over the place today. We got a lot of stuff. Rashad Beard at 10 o'clock, Fight Club at 11:20. We'll talk Panthers, Jets, joint practice, because Carolina made New York look bad yesterday.
And today they're just listening to us because practice has been canceled. So they're just hanging out, listening to the fan upstate. Feel free to call in at Jets or Panthers if you're just hanging out, ain't doing nothing.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Ron.
You can come over here and hang out in studio. Got a chair right over there for you.
Yeah, I do. We got multiple mics. I'll get Chris to come put more mics in here. Any of y'all want to come be on the air? Aaron, Bryce, what if we got them both in here? Do a little QB consortium.
I'd bring in the offensive line from both teams. We got a big studio.
It's a sturdy studio. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Roger Keegan, Rich, and P Digits. What up, P Digits? Wonder how many players transfer and never get picked up by another school. A healthy number.
Yeah.
But again,
just hanging out in the portal.
As somebody who is pro portal, I have said in the past, getting adult privileges, getting adult opportunities means you have to accept adult consequences as well. And the adult consequence, potential consequence of going, I'm going to walk on this scholarship that I signed and I'm going to go somewhere else. One of the potential consequences of that is that nobody else wants you. And the school you signed on initially goes, no, we don't want you back either. That is a real life consequence, right?
So don't leave unless they offer you money.
James said, well, can we talk trash about other sports stations? Because let me tell you something. Yeah, have at it, buddy. On the stream, you certainly can.
No, you guys feel free. As far as I'm concerned, I hear tell there are other stations. Like I said on the air, I hear tell,
All I know is the best sports talk show of the upstate originates on these airwaves. And I'll leave it there.
And the sportscaster of the year is going to come from the upstate of South Carolina.
I think the other guy's in the Midlands, isn't he?
Yeah, Columbia.
Yeah. So it's not a guarantee.
No. It is. You're going to win this, man. Because I went back into history. He hasn't won as many times as you think. He's second.
Won like 12.
No, he has not.
Yes, he has.
No, he has not.
Well, he claims it.
Okay. Well, by the way, winning, you won. Okay. So just being in the running, being one and two, you won a trophy. So you can say you won. There's a few second places on there that are being claimed as, so it's all, hey, we won. We did. We won. We go to Columbia. You won.
I was on TV last night. I watched 3 episodes.
I saw
and
you
also,
post about that.
Once you know that the Shredder is Uncle Phil, you can't not hear Uncle Phil.
Yeah, it kind of messes with you.
That.
Don't get us flagged for putting up turtles. If it was on your T-shirt, it'd probably be all right.
I'm pretty sure you can put up that.
I don't know. Okay, Roger. I'm going to take your word for it on that.
You know what else I watched an episode of earlier this week? A show that I had never seen before, though obviously I know of it. Columbo.
You've never seen Columbo?
I had never. I loved it.
Yeah,
dude.
Peter Falk's the dude, man.
I loved it.
So you probably only saw him in Princess Bride.
Yes.
And it's like,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I was flipping channels and like I know of Columbo.
Which in Princess Bride, he's just Columbo. He just is. He's just Columbo's your grandpa.
There was an episode on. I thought Columbo was more like, tough, gritty action hero detective. And I watch it and he's just thinking circles around dudes. It was great.
He's like Matlock in a way.
Yeah.
Where you think, that
was
dude
like
is
Matlock.
bumbling, stumbling, but he's
It was like Matlock meets CSI in the 60s.
Yeah.
It was great. Like now I have to find who streams Matlock or Columbo and go watch them all. It was great.
Coming up on a Friday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel, we will definitively answer the question whether the All Cupcakes Conference will actually survive. I'll tell you the very best bet for the college football season. Our ACC and SEC team preview series will continue, and so much more, all on a Friday episode.
Friday. Oh, today's Thursday. I might have to kill that to listen to that during the break, but I'm pretty sure he said Friday.
On the internet stream, which you, of course, can watch at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate by going to YouTube and searching The Fan Upstate.
It's the X, man. I know it still says twitter.com, but it's still the X.
Or Twitch by searching and subscribing to The Rob Brown Show.
Just trying to help you be accurate, that's all.
During the live stream, I was talking about the fact that last night I was flipping television channels and I came across 2 channels that were very interesting. One of them, I don't know if it was like Nick or it was Nicktoons and it got added or what it was, but the old early 90s Ninja Turtle cartoon was on because I'm an adult man. I watched the hell out of 3 episodes of it. And at one point, the one of the baddest cartoon theme songs of all time came on. And the fiance, who was knocked out snoring at that point, she like opens her eyes and she goes, "Is that the Ninja Turtles?" You damn right it is. And I also found out about Columbo. I had never watched an episode of Columbo before, but I came across an episode of Columbo and I was like, yo, this show's kind of dope. I kind of love this. My mother just texted and said, you know who else liked to watch Columbo? My grandfather. My mother's grandfather was a big Columbo guy. It must run in the family because that show was great.
I don't think you're catching her point.
That I watch old man shows.
Yeah, I think that might be your point.
No, I got it.
I think it could be. Yeah.
I got it.
I watched it when I was a kid. So, I mean, but you know.
Never did. It was great. We got on the internet stream, which again, go find it, watch it, come hang out with us. The Rob Brown Armada hangs out off the air. As a matter of fact, Lonzo.
Yeah, I know. It's the Panthers and the Jets. You know, I threw that out there and then boom.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Number spiked. I love it. So we were talking about transfer quarterbacks coming up this year in college football at the Power 5 level, 69 schools. At the Power 5 level. Nice. At the Power 5 level, over 62% as of today of starting quarterbacks are transfer quarterbacks. To which I said, I'm fine with that. I'm 100% fine with it. I don't have any desire to hold college football players with any different standard than I hold any of you.
So you're saying you're not a turncoat. You don't know what it's like to be, whatever team it is. You never really cared about the team. Why in the world would you come here if you're just going to leave? We're going to send you some really bad social media messages. How dare you?
No, I'm not saying any of that. I appreciate the effort, but I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is if I go work for a place and then I get there and I find out that that place has sold me a false bill of goods, or I get there and I find out that I'm never going to be able to reach my aspirations, my goals at that place, then I'm out. I am saying that loyalty is earned, not given. You don't get me to be loyal just by hiring me. You get me to be loyal by showing me that there's a reason to be loyal to you. And at the end of the day, we're all looking out for number one, which is are. So I don't have any issue at all, honestly, with the guy deciding to move on. And to answer the comment that started this, we got a stream comment a few minutes ago from P Digits with a Z.
You don't have to pronounce the Z that way.
P Digits.
Come on. That makes you sound old. Don't do that.
Who said, I wonder how many players transfer and never get picked up by another school. And that's a good question. It's a question that I do find very interesting, and it's a question that I'll answer this way, P Digits. Along with adult opportunity comes adult responsibility.
Nope.
Along with adult opportunity comes adult consequences.
Nope.
And those things can be frustrating at times, but them's the drags, man. If you want, as a college athlete, to have the opportunity to go to a different school, and you decide to make the adult decision to walk away from an agreement that you made in order to better yourself, a decision that, if you make it, I support you.
Poof.
If you decide to, you pulled the poof clip.
I forgot about it till just then, so I put it in there. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Poof.
If you decide to take the adult step of leaving an agreement that you had in place to go to a different place to try to create a better situation for yourself, you have the full support of one Rob Brown. But you must also understand that the consequences of that are real as well. And if you go into the portal and no other school wants you, if you go into the portal and no other school signs you up, if you go into the portal and you get swindled by another school because you're just so happy to leave the one you're at and go somewhere else, that is an adult consequence of your adult decision to leave the place that you were. This is why every time the portal goes up and I hear a coach go, well, we got 120, 190, 210, 275 kids in the portal who don't find a new landing spot. I'm like, that sucks, dude. That sucks. I don't like that. Makes me uncomfortable, but that is a consequence of the power that you were given to go in the portal. I have the same situation with NIL, right? I am 1,000% in favor of name, image, and likeness. 1,000% in favor. I am 1,000% in favor of athletes being allowed to chase the bag and get that money. And that's all athletes, not just football players. Hell, that's all college students, right? If there's a kid in the band, let's say some dork that plays trombone, and he can make some money on the side by playing in a ska band, we're not going to stop him by going, you're on scholarship, isn't that good enough? No, we're going to go take that talent that you have, take that skill that you have, and go make that paper. Yet I have never heard any of you say, I don't think kids in the school band should be allowed to play in the regular band. I've never heard any of you saying that kid that has the computer engineering degree should not be able to build apps on the side to take advantage of his talent to make side hustles. The only group I've ever heard anyone say that about is football players. Now, hell, not even basketball or baseball players. The only group I've ever heard people say they should not be allowed to make more money by being themselves on the side is football players. But again, there are consequences that come with that. There are consequences and responsibilities that come with that. And to earn that power, players must face those consequences and responsibilities. The same is true of the portal. Yeah, there's going to be some kids that don't find a home. But hey, I'm also looking at names like Jordan Travis, a transfer who's going to start at Florida State this year. He's a Heisman dark horse. He's a potential NFL draft pick. I'm looking at Garrett Schrader at Syracuse. He's a transfer quarterback. The Orange have a chance to do something special this year. I'm looking at Phil Jerkovich at Pitt, filling in for old baby hands up there with the Panthers. He's on transfer school number 3, and he's going to be a mid to late round NFL draft pick. And going to Pitt.
Why'd you sound like Big Lou there?
I'm on drug
Yeah. Wife.
Jerkovich is on school number 3, and it has opened up another opportunity for him. I am looking at Quinn Ewers at Texas. If Texas is back, TM.
Wait. He went. There's a Manning starting there, right? I thought.
There's a Manning sitting there.
Oh, okay.
Old Quinn getting the nod over Arch.
Why didn't Arch transfer?
Honestly, I don't know. I that is a genuine question. I don't know why Arch didn't transfer. There's probably schools on this list that would have booted their guy in order to start Arch Manning. But Arch made a decision that he's going to stay loyal to the Horns. For the record, I respect that too. I'm looking at Talia Tungavailoa, a transfer to Maryland. Jeff Sims transferred from Georgia Tech to Nebraska. He's under Matt Rule. Matt Rule's had a pretty good run of building offenses at the collegiate level. I'm not saying he's going to do it at Nebraska. I'm saying he did do it at Baylor. Jeff Sims was getting nothing done at Georgia Tech. He could potentially emerge as a player to watch. Michael Penix at Washington. DJ Uiagalelei at Oregon State. DJ bombed at Clemson. If some of y'all had your way, you would force DJ Uiagalelei to sit on the bench at Clemson and just watch the clock run out on his career as Cade quarterbacked. Instead, he gets to go to Oregon State and have a chance to rejuvenate his career and maybe turn into the football player Clemson hoped he was going to be and just couldn't. I'm not saying he's going to do that. I'm saying he's got the opportunity. And some of y'all would be happier if he didn't. You would be happier if DJ had to just waste away on the sideline at Clemson as a backup quarterback who never saw the field again so that you could all go, loyalty is important to me. I mean, again, I get it. Loyalty is important, but loyalty is earned, not given. That's just how that goes. So I'm sure that there are plenty of players out there who hit the portal and never get picked up. That is a real life consequence of your decision making. And you got to take the good with the bad, my man. That being said, Jaden Daniels, he's going to be a Heisman threat this year. He's a transfer. We mentioned Devin Leary, Spencer Rattler, Joe Milton, Jackson Dart, maybe the best quarterback name of all time. Because not only is it Jackson Dart, Lonzo, it's Jackson spelled Jaxson. That is the most quarterback name of all time.
Yeah, but if he had a transfer, that means he didn't throw him.
I mean, he's with old Joey Freshwater now. He's with old Lane now. Look out, world. Jackson throwing Dart. I can't wait. Graham Mertz down at Florida. Billy Napier got him a transfer quarterback. If Notre Dame is going to be there at the end this year, a lot of it's going to go with Sam Hartman, the former Wake guy who's up there now. I don't have an issue. But again, when you get to make adult decisions and you are handed the power to do so, along with that comes the consequences. Daddy-O just popped on the stream. What up, Daddy-O? He said loyalty, and he did the big quotes, the big quotation marks. Loyalty can create toxicity in a locker room if a kid is forced to stay. It's exactly right. This is a point, Daddy-O, I've made a number of times in the past. I'm uncomfortable with the number of times I've said Daddy-O, but you know what? I'm rolling with it.
Hey, Daddy-O.
Daddy-O.
Yeah, you got to do it that
Daddy-O?
way. Yeah.
I have said a number of times in these discussions, don't you want kids in your locker room because they want to be in the locker room as opposed to they are forced to be in the locker room? Wouldn't you rather have 82 kids who really want to be there as opposed to 82 kids who really want to be there and 15 more who absolutely don't, but they have no other options and they're just there, existing? Yeah, of course, man. Of course. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. We got a few more things to get to. A few more things to talk about. We got to get to Rashad Beard at 10 o'clock. We'll talk about that Jets-Panthers joint practice. To those of y'all that are new on the stream, welcome in. Settle down, hang out. We got another, 2 hours and 17 minutes of this. You're welcome in advance. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's the Fan Upstate. Having some big numbers on the stream today. Welcome in, guys. Great to have you.
Yeah, Keegan's right. You were close to saying something that I was going to grab. You see my eyes highlight like, oh, but I would never do that because
no, of course not.
I don't want to disparage Rob in any way because he's awesome. So, he also has capabilities to do it back at me. He just doesn't. So, I mean,
I'm compassionate.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Compassion.
He knows what hurt me more. He's got thicker skin than I do.
Let me go grab some water, guys. I'll be back in just a minute. Also, this TV's off. Are we aware of that?
Yeah, because I don't want to. I can't log in right now. It's only been off for 45 minutes, but his back's been turned. So. I have a hard time dealing with people talking negatively about loyalty. I'm not saying loyalty can't be a bad thing. It absolutely can, but I appreciate loyalty a great deal.
No drugs. I'm talking about joint pain we all can relate to in your knees, your shoulders, your hips, and your lower back. They'll get you feeling good again. Get relief now. What are you waiting on? Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmett Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different how? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
See, guys like Joe Burrow, the talent they have, they can go somewhere else and do what he did. But not all these guys have the talent they thought they had when they couldn't start when they were. And sometimes it does have to do with the coaches that are there and not about the school. But
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always
All right.
I just sent you something on Twitter. I don't know if you saw
On what?
this or not. You got me. You got me. You got me.
Because X is a dumb name.
X is an excellent name. Garth, we fear change.
DQ presents. That's the sound of someone seeing the DQ $7 meal deal. And that's the sound of someone deciding if they want the original cheeseburger or 3-piece chicken strips with their $7 meal deal. And that's the sound of someone digging into their choice of original cheeseburger or
So it would seem like for the most part that football or sports in general are the only places where loyalty seems to be a negative.
It's not a negative. I think it's just we've gotten to a point where loyalty is no longer a commodity. Loyalty is now a commodity as opposed to a demand.
We're already doing that,
No,
Chris,
you
by the way.
earned my
We
loyalty.
just messed up a little.
What?
I was commenting on the,
Oh.
on the thing.
I like that. I like that. I sent out a give it to you.
So you're arguing that a tweet is better than an X. A tweet.
Literally
A tweet.
became a verb. You know how hard it is to make your name a verb?
I thought you dealt in reality and birds aren't real. So if birds aren't real, then how can you send out a tweet?
I hate when I see something trending that I really want to talk about, but I am 90% sure it's
I
going to be
got,
there.
dude, I got nothing. I've written down,
Yeah,
I
that's why I'm
found
saying.
nothing. So, I mean, you know.
Working towards the end of hour number 1, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back to the Heavy, guys. Look at our upstate hot dog eating champion, Jersey Joe, is in the stream this morning. Chris, James, Keegan, Roger, Daddy-O, Kevin, P. Digits, all up in there today. You should be too. Go to Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate.
Poof.
Go to YouTube and search The Fan Upstate, or go to Twitch and search The Rob Brown Show. We're in all the places, man. All the places. We can get away from the transfer quarterback stuff. I just found that number very interesting. Let's take a look at something else that popped up that I found very interesting. We'll probably get more into detail on this later on. The foundation that supports, according to the Associated Press, the foundation that supports Texas A&M athletics announced yesterday it is closing the branch that it set up for donors to support endorsement deals for Aggie athletes at Texas A&M. That is an effort that Texas A&M established through their university foundation. They established a side branch of the 12th Man Foundation where boosters could donate And that money would go straight towards helping student athletes facilitate, engage in, and profit off of NIL deals. The 12th Man Foundation will still engage in name, image, and likeness activities with Aggie athletes using, quote, unrestricted donations, end quote. But it noted that external advisors recommended shutting down the 12th Man Plus Fund, which had just been launched back in February. The reason why being that the Internal Revenue Service back in June sent out a memo that said nonprofit collectives that were created primarily to pay players are likely not exempt from taxes, meaning donations would likely not be tax deductible. Charity organization experts have noted the IRS memo could upend a rapidly growing market of collectives that have become a primary source of NIL deals for athletes. If donations to athletic-specific collectives are not tax deductible, experts have warned that money could dry up. The 12th Man Foundation was made to ensure that, according to the AP article, the 12th Man Foundation is a private organization that raises money to fund scholarships, programs, and facilities for Texas A&M athletics. The June IRS memo said the NIL collectives, quote, may face future examinations or enforcement action by the IRS, end quote, but did not elaborate on that, which of course means that these collectives are going to be in flux for a little while. On top of that, boosters who may have been giving money to collectives like the 12th Man Plus Foundation and likely were doing so under the assumption that those things would become charity write-offs. That's not guaranteed anymore. And a lot of people who throw around a lot of money like that very frequently are throwing it around because it is a tax write-off, right? Because they get to not pay that money in taxes at the end of the year, so that money's going to what they want. Now, the reason this is going to be set up this way, and the reason I do not think it is going to be tax deductible at the end of the year, is because in the eyes of the IRS, this is a payment, right? In the eyes of the IRS, you are basically creating what might as well just be called a payment service. We collect the funds, we disperse them to employees. So this isn't as big of a deal as it really sounds like, because a lot of these collectives are going to remain. They're going to stay active. Texas A&M is just disassociating it from being directly connected to the university itself. A lot of the collectives you hear about are not connected to the university, at least not directly, right? They don't report to the university. This one did. It was a private organization, but it was a private organization that was directly connected to the university, and the university is not going to get into it because while the NCAA does not have teeth, the IRS most certainly does. And if the tax man comes calling, Lonzo, if IRS walks down the ramp, somebody's catching one. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Hour number 2, Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joins us to talk a little Carolina Panther football next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. What about cash in a McDonald's bag? Ah, yes, the bag man. That's the old way of doing things, PD.
What sandwich is in that bag? Is it? I guess it depends on what time of day.
Can I tell you, one of my guilty pleasures is the fillet of fish from the MacD's. I'm a big fillet of fish guy, man.
Is it more the tartar sauce and the cheese, or is it just the square of whatever kind of fish that supposedly is?
Honestly, it's the tartar sauce and the cheese, because I can make
it's the combination of flavors. That's why I'm asking. I think the combination of flavors for that just it's awesome. It really is. I said, okay. I said, whatever kind of fish. It could be like faux fish. I don't know.
Let's.
I think because remember, like Subway was sued over not having tuna in their tuna.
Yeah.
I think if they didn't have some kind of fish in their fish, somebody would sue them. You know.
McDonald's claims on their website that they use wild-caught Alaska pollock for their Filet-O-Fish sandwich in the U.S., which is, quote, 100% sourced from sustainable fisheries, end quote.
Fish farms.
Yeah.
Okay.
McDonald's originally used Atlantic cod before declining cod catches forced McDonald's to find sustainable fish elsewhere.
Did you send Rashad the thing?
Yes.
Okay. So again, they know that if they don't have some fish in their fish,
Yeah.
somebody getting paid.
Yeah. Subway, they did an actual DNA test on their tuna and found that it contained like less than 20% tuna DNA. It was just something else.
Which makes it tuna-ish.
And that was when Rob Brown was out on a particular sub sandwich chain.
I will be enjoying a fine Subway sandwich in about 20 minutes. 'Cause Rob's not the boss of me. If he was, he would make me get rid of the cart wall probably. But, you know,
Mad Chatter, what's up, big dog? Welcome in.
let's make sure that we mention to Rashad about the bucket hat because I'm interested in his
Bucket
take
Hat
on
is
that.
at the top
Yeah.
of my discussion list.
Yeah, I just saw and I didn't realize that this was the last day in Wofford. So
Yeah.
So I guess they just pack up and go.
The Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl because they have been #disrespect. People like you, I know. Disrespect. I am very, very sorry. It is my disrespect that did it. So when the Chiefs inevitably
Thank you.
win the 2023-24
Yeah, yeah, he is.
trophy, what's up, big dog?
What's going on, guys?
How you doing, man?
Good. All is well.
I don't want to give away what we're about to talk about. I have joined Team Bucket Hat.
Okay.
And my old head coach has now taken a shot at Team Bucket Hat, and I'm not super thrilled about it. You're big on Team Bucket Hat last I checked, right?
I'm not big, but I have one.
You are. I would say I've seen you on Twitter rocking the bucket hat a few times.
Yeah. I have one for purposes of blocking the sun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that, I'm making a fashion statement by any means.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, like you wear anything and don't look good in it. Come on, Rashad. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I wore a bucket hat yesterday. I don't look good in it. So that's because I had this huge thing and the bucket hat. I need
Lonzo's bucket hat's an actual bucket.
Yeah, it should be. I need to get one of those. So the ones that have the bigger brims, are they still bucket hats or are they like old lady in the garden hats?
Those aren't bucket hats. Those are sun hats.
Sun hats.
Yeah, I don't know what to call that.
Or Bobby Bowden hats.
Okay. All right. You could do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. All the rules that he puts in place, Denver's still going to suck. So, I mean, By the way, I hope your spy meeting went well today.
You talking about me?
Yes.
Lonzo's convinced you're an actual spy.
Yeah, I've told him that. He is. He's a spy. We know it.
I didn't hear the spy part. My fault. Yeah, no spy meetings. Work meetings, no spy meetings. I do work. Contrary to popular belief, and I'm not a spy.
Do what?
I said I do work, and I'm not a spy, contrary to popular belief.
That's exactly what a spy would say. Here we go. Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now, ladies and gentlemen. This Here's the fan upstate. Welcome back, y'all. Good to have you. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo. And now it's Thursday. You know what that means. Time to talk a little Carolina Panther football. We usually go a little earlier in the day, but Rashad got caught up by his bosses at the CIA, had a special meeting. So he joins us now to start the 10 o'clock hour, which also means we're not restricted by annoying things like breaks and commercials. Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast here on the Rob Brown Show. What's up, big dog?
Yes, sir. Training camp is, sadly over due to the weather, but man, it was such a good experience, man. Let's talk about it. Let's wrap.
How you feeling, man? A little worn out, a little tired? You've been putting the work in, Jack.
Yeah, a little tired. This is a great time of the year, though. Football is back. I did miss a couple of practices, but for the most part, I was at the majority of practices, and it's not a short drive. So, yeah, man, it's a lot to unpack, but that's the name of the business, man.
All right, let's get into some stuff, and let's start just overall impressions. I know last week we talked a lot of wide receiver. Yesterday, well, I guess 2 nights ago, but yesterday we got to dive into it. The unofficial preseason week 1 depth chart came out, and I was somewhere between pleased and surprised to see that Jonathan Mingo was named as one of the 3 starting wide receivers ahead of Laviska Shenault. Surprising, not surprising? I mean, I've been saying I think this kid's got every tool to be everything Mike Thomas is for the Saints, for the Carolina Panthers. I did not expect him to see him be listed as one of the top 3 wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, you got to put some context to the depth charts, but because the quote unquote the coaches don't have any say in them, but they are still entertaining, and we must talk about them. So I'm not surprised actually to see Mingo be that far ahead of those guys because Mingo was drafted by this regime. So you got to look at Shenault. I mean, we like Shenault, but and they're trying to get him into the rotation, but he wasn't brought in by these guys. Also, look at Terrace Marshall. He wasn't brought in. He wasn't drafted by this new regime that we have. So there are no loyalties to those guys. Mingo was in fact drafted by Frank Reich and company. So I feel like there is a propensity to want him to be out there. And I saw it yesterday. I was at training camp, and it really cycles through who has the best day. And yesterday was Mingo's day. Mingo had a really good practice. He was shining out there ahead of, and unfortunately, Laviska Shenault was banged up a little bit, did not practice yesterday, so we didn't see him. But those guys, it just cycles every day. Who's going to have the best day? Mingo has been consistent, but yesterday he had his day, and so I'm not surprised about it. I'm not too surprised about that. I'm more surprised about the defense side of the chart, but offense, not too surprised.
All right, flip to the defensive side of the ball. What is it that's been catching your eye yesterday? From what I understand, Carolina's defense was really giving the Jets offense fits when they were going 1v1s. I know we've seen a couple of things stand out. Brian Burns, and we'll come to his contract situation here in just a minute, but I've seen him making some plays against the Jets O-line yesterday. Hopefully we see it again today. Hopefully we see it on Saturday. What is it about the defense? Give me the top 2-3 things that have stood out to you.
Man, that the front 3, man, this 3-4 defense, this new look. And I got to be honest, I'm most impressed with that front 7 as a whole. Like those guys, Shy Tuttle, which you are, I'm sure, very familiar with, is great. Derek Brown, he's tough. And then Marquand McCall, who is, 7th round pick that from a couple years ago. Those guys are really, that's a tough front to deal with. And then on top of that, you add Brian Burns, Frankie Louvu, Shaq Thompson, and now Justin Houston to the mix, a savvy veteran. That front 7 is going to be problematic for a lot of teams, and I think we caught the Jets off guard with that yesterday. All the reports are saying that they were surprised with our front, and we went to work on those guys. Now in 11-on-11s, Aaron Rodgers yesterday did kind of pick us apart, but that's Aaron Rodgers. He's going to get that. You have to play bend but don't break when you're playing Aaron Rodgers, and so he was able to have some success. But for the most part, man, even when they went down to 2-minute drill, we were able to get 3 and out on Aaron Rodgers and get a pick on Zach Wilson when it was his rep. So the defense is doing a great job. I think they are definitely ahead of the offense, which is typically the case right about now. And I'm really surprised. Now, when the depth chart came out, I was surprised to see, and again, I know this kind of goes against logic because I just said those guys weren't, right guys, but to see Brandon Smith and to see Amari Barno on the back end of that depth chart was kind of surprising. I mean, we did go out there and get 2 veterans in Deion Jones and Justin Houston to replace those positions respectively. I just was surprised to see that those guys have a lot of raw talent, and to see that not kind of come to fruition, to see them back in on the roster on the depth chart was kind of surprising. So that's what I got for the defense, man. Really, really happy with the defense.
Talking to Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Let's get into these joint practices because we got a couple of interviews yesterday. We heard from Aaron Rodgers. We heard from Robert Saleh, the quarterback and the head coach of the New York Jets, and both of them were very, very complimentary of BY. Aaron Rodgers said, look, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said basically the only thing with BY right now is, he needs to be more kind to himself. Like, he's got to recognize blowing one drill in preseason is not the end of the world, but he takes it that way. He's got that intensity. But he said, quote, Carolina's in good hands. And then Robert Saleh, when asked about BY, had a few nice things to say. And he said, I think we all agree that kid's going to be damn good. What has he been doing the last couple of days that have made these guys be willing to step out and be so complimentary to him?
Yeah, man, Bryce is doing an incredible job. And this is why I like having Frank Reich announce him as the number 1 QB off the rip. No, there's no discussion about it. There's no debate. There's no QB controversy. Get him out there. Let him get the experience. And so what we've seen over camp, I think shout out to Joe Person. He put this statistic together, unofficial statistic, but he threw about 65% all of training camp in 11 on 11s, which is about what you want to see from your quarterback. There were some drops. And there was a couple of batted passes, but for all of the folks that say, hey, Bryce is too small, he can't see over the middle of the football, bro, that's where he's been most dangerous, and that's what we've seen in his college tape. We always want to throw up these barriers for Bryce, and he's done nothing but be great from high school to college, and now he's going to be great in the NFL. And I've seen it. I mean, you can see the leadership, you can see he has all the ability in the world, and I'm happy. I'm really happy to have Bryce Young as our quarterback. Now, hopefully it translates to the regular season. But what I've seen in training camp has been really good. He's been accurate. He's been safe with the football. I think he's only had a couple of picks. He did have a pick, throw a pick in 11 on 11s yesterday. That was I would kind of attribute that to the receiver's strong hands, that the cornerback was able to kind of rip the ball from him and play a little bit of a tip drill there. But he's been really good, safe with the football, making good decisions, and I think that's what we expect to see from Bryce Young going into the regular season.
The decision making, right? I think when you hear about a guy being cerebral and a guy knowing the playbook and all the things we've heard about BY, that's really the quality you're emphasizing, is that decision making. But I love that you talked about the touch. I was watching a couple of different clips from the last 2 practices. You talked about going over the middle. It's not just going over the middle, Rashad. It's the fact that he's throwing footballs that if they are a foot and a half further or a foot and a half shorter, they're going 6 back the other way. But he's not dropping them on he's dropping these things on a dime. He's putting them down with finesse, with touch. It's not just that he's seeing and reading and making the right decision. It's that he's throwing a real good football into a real tight window, which in this particular division, the division that, New Orleans has got a couple of good DBs. Atlanta's got 1 or 2, but it's a division that's open for a quarterback who can execute that pass. He looks good throwing the ball and dropping it into tight windows right now.
Yeah, and again, we've seen it from his college tape. It's no different from his college tape. He's doing exactly what he did in college. And yeah, he's very accurate. And another thing I saw from Bryce is his pocket presence is on full display. Listen, our offensive line, they struggled yesterday in 11 on 11s. The Jets have a really good defense. They do. And albeit they did not have Sauce Gardner yesterday, they did not have Carl Lawson, but they're still a really good front with Quentin Williams. And our offensive line struggled a tad. Okay. And Bryce Young's ability to maneuver the pocket, to keep his eyes downfield and still be accurate with the football, again, on full display. We've seen it from his Alabama tape. It's no different. So there's no surprise to me. I'm not surprised to see it. I'm happy to see it. But to me, we've seen it. The guy is again picking apart the playbook. The cerebral assassin is what we call him. This guy is great, man. And again, hopefully it just translates to the regular season. But yeah, he's been great. Bryce has been great.
All right, let's talk about these joint practices with the Jets a little bit. The Jets are a team that a lot of experts and analysts believe have a real shot. I said last year, and this was before they went on a 6-game L streak to end the year, but for a while there, I think Robert Saleh's got this team pointed in a good direction. I think defensively they're very good. They've obviously got guys like Sauce out there who can play. I said last year I thought this team was a quarterback away from being very good. I think that's why they are the team that ended up with Aaron Rodgers. And the last couple of days can only be described as frustrating for the Jets as somebody who's put eyes on. Was that because the Jets are going through growing pains with a new QB, or was that because Carolina made it frustrating for the Jets?
Yeah, I don't know that I would say that the Jets were going to be frustrated or should come away as frustrated. I think it was a really good battle. And I think for me, the biggest takeaway from the joint practices is that Carolina, like we belong. Like we were able to match that intensity because, listen, it got chippy. It got really chippy yesterday. There was I counted about 6 skirmishes that occurred between the Jets, and they were really intense. The Jets were hyped up. They brought that energy, and we had to match it. And I feel like the Jets I think they thought they were going to come in and just bully us around, and that was not the case, right? We were able to match that, and I felt like, again, the biggest takeaway for me was that we belong. We can hang with the Jets, even though they do have a good defense. They have Aaron Rodgers. They have things going their way. I think they're going to make some noise in division. I'll be in a really tough division now. And again, we belong and we match their energy. And I think defensively, I think they were a little bit caught off guard with how good our defense is because, again, it's a scheme change. This is not the old Carolina Panthers. This is a new 3-4 defense with pure athletes playing in position, right? Brian Burns moving to edge rusher, playing out. He was nasty yesterday. He was putting dudes in a spin cycle, okay? And he's really, really good. And I think he was able to put that on display and catch some guys off guard. And so, yeah, I think they were just a little caught off guard, but I wouldn't say that they should come away as frustrated. I think it was a really good matchup between two solid teams.
We know that BY is getting the nod to start coming up Saturday night at home. First taste of NFL interaction. Look, I've always been of the mindset preseason games are not for the fans. I mean, we're going to put them on like it's a game. We're going to run through the presentation and all that. But preseason games are for players to prove that they deserve a spot on the 53 and coaches to decide who those 53 guys are, which is why you're not going to see from most teams starting quarterbacks. They know who their guy is already. You're not going to see starting wide receivers. They know those guys. They want to see who's going to step up next. Frank Reich is rolling out the starters. And now I suspect they're probably going to play 2-3 series at most, but this is just, to me, I think the reason is, and I said this on yesterday's show, having a rookie quarterback playing inside of Frank Reich's offense, I want BY to see full speed NFL football, and I don't want it to be in week 1. I don't want him to line up against Atlanta on the road and that be the first taste of this is what full speed, full game feels like. Not only am I glad you're rolling out the ones on Saturday, Rashad, honestly, I'd roll him out for the whole first half. Like, let him get an extended look at this against a pretty good team. What does Saturday night shape up like for you if you are Frank Reich?
Yeah, if me, I'm playing Bryce probably a quarter. Maybe he gets 1 or 2 series. I like to see. I 1,000% agree with what you're saying. I don't want Bryce Young going out there week 1 and it being his first live action. Definitely got to get him some experience, get comfortable. And again, I think if you go back to the joint practices, it took him some time to get comfortable seeing another team. The Jets run a little bit of a different defense, a different front than we do. So you got to let them see it in live action. And I love it. I want to see the offensive line. The offensive line has to get better as a unit with no Austin Corbett, Cade Mays playing there. You got to get those guys comfortable and meshed. So you got to give them as much experience as possible. A half, I think, is a bit of a stretch. I give them at least a quarter. Defensively, I think we're going to be fine defensively. I wouldn't want us to put our guys out there too much. I don't want to see too much of Brian Burns out there, but offensively for sure, I want to see, Chark. I want to see Thielen. I want to see Mingo. I want to see those guys start to develop that chemistry and see if that translates to actually a game setting. So, yeah, I'm with you 1,000% on that. And again, I believe you're right. I want to see some of these guys on the back end of the roster, see if they can get make some noise and potentially make the 53-man roster. There's some guys. I think this is going to be a lot of tough decisions to make for Frank Reich and company for sure.
You have mentioned the offensive line a couple of times. We are waiting for Austin Corbett to come back. Cade Mays getting the nod over Dion. I'm glad you brought that up. What did Cade Mays look like? Because I said yesterday, the two guys I'm most interested in keeping a close eye on Saturday are John Mingo and Cade Mays, just in case we got to lean on him a little bit longer than we'd like. What has Cade look like? What did the offensive line look like against a different set of DL number ones? What's your thought on that?
Did you say we?
My man, if y'all
He did.
win,
He did.
Bro.
He did say we.
Listen,
He did.
listen.
He did.
I'm going to be straight up with you, Rashad. It's a rivalry. But if it can't be us, I hope it's y'all for one reason. It's the Ric Flair mentality. Cash is king, my guy. And if Carolina goes to a dance, Rob Brown gets paid, homie.
Nope. Nope.
I like it. I just caught that. I just want to make sure I heard that correctly. But yeah, going back to the offensive line. Yeah, I think Mays, he's got a little bit of bump in the road. He's not Austin Corbett by any means. We need to get Austin Corbett back healthy. That's the biggest concern I have. That front, the offensive line last year was I believe a top 10 unit. Missing Corbett is a huge loss for this offensive line. Mays is no Corbett. Let's just keep it a buck. He's not. So you can see an interior push from the Jets defensive line during practices. Let's hope that gets better. Cade Mays is I think a 5th or 6th round pick. So it comes, we're not expecting him to be an all-star by any means, but he is a solid depth play, and we need to show off that depth. We need him to play. We need him to get better. So hopefully that will get we will see that on Saturday, hopefully. But Mingo, I think Mingo's going to be fine. I think we're going to see a lot of Mingo. He's going to be great. So, yeah.
Rashad Beard is the host of the Panther Nation podcast. You can find them on Twitter at Panther Nation PC or on YouTube, where you need to go search and subscribe before you get out of here. I have seen Rashad Beard on the Twitter. He's a bucket hat guy. Sean Payton of the Denver Broncos laid out a couple of rules for his team. If you're not actively playing, no jerseys, no sunglasses on the sideline, and no bucket hats. Dude, that's fascist, right? Like, that's just straight up authoritarianism to tell me I can't. The bucket hat is the premier sun protection device of pasty white dudes like me, Rashad. What is Sean doing, man?
Yeah, he sounds like a hater, man. No sunglasses. Yeah, man. We know Sean Payton's a hater from previous experiences, but I had to take that shot. My bad. But yeah, man. That sounds. Yeah, you got to have a.
Which finger were you pointing to?
Yeah,
Whichever
I don't know, man.
We can put ours on any finger we want.
I couldn't tell, but yeah, man, you got to have a bucket hat. I'm a bucket hat advocate. I don't want to get any darker than I am, so I definitely have the bucket hat seasons on display when I especially was at training camp. You don't want to get dark out there, so you got to have the bucket hat. I'm a bucket hat advocate. Put me on the list.
Respect. See, at the end of the day, Rashad and I can come together on the important stuff like bucket hats. All right.
And Sean Payton's a hater. We come to agreements on that too.
Sean Payton's a little bit of a hater right now. All right. He ain't always been a hater. He's a little bit of a hater right now. Rashad Beard hosts the Panther Nation podcast. Make sure you go find them on YouTube. Search and subscribe. If you want in-depth Panther coverage, you're not going to find anybody better. Appreciate you, big dog. We'll see you next week with a game in the books to talk about.
Absolutely, with lots to break down from there, man. Going live at 12:00 with the Jets YouTubers, so come check us out. Breaking down both sides of it.
What y'all got this weekend, pre and post game?
We're going live during the game, so we'll go live during the game. Live reactions like we always do. Those are always fun. So come by and watch us live react. Give our live opinion, uncut, unfiltered. It's pretty fun. Good experience.
I like it. Rashad Beard, Panther Nation podcast on YouTube. Appreciate you, fellas. See you next week.
Absolutely, man.
Later on. That is Rashad Beard, again, host of the Panther Nation podcast. Make sure you find them on YouTube. Search and subscribe. We are back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, I have to do a live read here. Y'all stay right there, and we will be right back. All right, we're back. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. Dallas, what's up, big dog? Welcome in. Roger Snell's down by week 6 and is done finally.
Hater.
I don't know, man.
Hater.
Again, I think the Jets were pretty good last year. Mingo is a wide receiver I wanted. A.J. Brown's build. He's aggressive. Panthers never have aggressive wide receivers. I like Mingo. But Chatter, I said preseason, I think this is TMJ's year to break out and prove that he's that guy. Mingo might take his place, honestly.
I don't know. The way Rashad was talking about and looking at the depth chart, he may already have.
Yeah.
But he's echoing what you were saying yesterday about Frank Reich and it not being his guys. It does make sense. You bring your guys in, you want to see what your guys can do. So what time do you plan on being there Saturday?
Well, I've got to do the show Saturday, which is over at 4. So I'll leave at 4:30. That should put me there probably right at 6 or just a few minutes after. It's at 7, right? Yeah, so I'll probably get there about 6:30, and then we'll probably have a couple of drinks before we go in.
Well, I want to make sure that I make an entrance. So I want people to be in there before I walk in. So, I mean, you know.
Boombox and Bluetooth speaker. Play some walking music.
Remember, there's a DJ there. So
Still gonna do it.
just tell him.
DJ, turn it off for a minute. I got this.
Just tell the DJ when you see this guy, play this.
100%. I'm 100% gonna ask.
We got to ask
DJ
for walk up.
for
We,
walk-up
we
music.
do. But are you going to ask for a separate one when you walk up and win the? You think he'll have it? No, no.
I'll ask. If not, I'll send it to him. I got the file.
All right, you can do that for when you win Sportscaster of the Year, but when we win, you know, Sports Show of the Year, I don't.
FDR song.
No. I will throw my hat down and just walk out.
You know what? I'll take the vote. This Saturday, the South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year Award is going to be presented to a show that is from the Fan Upstate. The 2 finalists for that award are Offsides with Mark Ryan on the Fan Upstate and the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. So the award is coming home where it deserves to be, right here in these palatial upstate studios.
Where it has been every year except for 1 year, and that was last year.
Yeah.
And that's just ridiculous.
Which is why that red jacket's been hanging there for a year. Okay? So, my question to y'all is, if the great one and I win, number one, is it too much to ask the DJ? And again, I said if we win, because we could not be up against a tougher show to take down than Offsides. So if we win, A, is it too much for Lonzo and I to ask the DJ for walk-up music onto the stage? And B, if we do that, what song do we play?
All right. I know what I want. And it will shock you, but I know what I want. I want Return of the Mac.
That's not a bad pick. That's not a bad pick.
Because announcing we're back.
Back to the rightful place.
Yes, that's what I want. Like
That's
I
not a
said,
bad pick.
the look on your face, like, I did not expect that.
I didn't
But,
expect it, but it's a good pick. See, I immediately went to part of our demo reel. I was going to pick some wrestling walk-up song. My initial thought was D-Generation X, because I have heard the past 3 years submissions from other shows. Ours does not sound like any of them, right? Our show, I think, is unlike any other show in this format. Some people love it. Some people hate it. But it's different than everybody else.
But even the haters still listening.
So my thought was, I don't think there is a more appropriate song than the Degeneration X walk-up music.
If they have it, I will not complain about that. I'm good with that. But then you got to do, if that's playing when you go up on stage, you got to do something. I mean, you know.
The problem with that is I would like to be invited back. And while I think a solid half the room would be like, word, throw up the X, I think about half the room would be like, what? What did that psychopath just do up there, man? What was that?
As long as you're not going full on Shawn Michaels, I mean, you know, yeah, as long as you're not doing that, just one.
I definitely wouldn't do that.
I think we can get away with one.
Definitely wouldn't do that.
You know what? We could just turn our backs and do it. They don't have to see what we're doing. But that's not the same thing, you know.
Too much to hire or to hire. I mean, maybe I might pay him.
Look, there's a DJ that plays walk-up songs. You don't know what you're going to get when you win and what he's going to play. We have talked about going and requesting. It doesn't mean he'll do it, but I'm sure the DJ is going to be a cool dude. And if he's got it, I'm sure he'll take care of that for us.
All right. Texter says, is John Mingo going to be a late round fantasy pickup? Yeah, for me, he is. For me, the fact that John Mingo worked his way into a starting role just in 1.5 weeks of camp says good things. I will tell you right now, I am not shy on picking up Panthers as fantasy picks, right? Hayden Hurst, Jonathan Mingo, Adam Thielen. Thielen I'm interested in probably after Mingo. And here's why. Adam Thielen, I don't think is going to be a big touchdown machine, right? I think Adam Thielen's going to be a consistent ball catcher. He's going to be a chain mover. But I think Adam Thielen's probably a guy I'm looking for 50 a game from. And maybe, I don't know, 4 touchdowns on the year, 5 touchdowns. I don't think he's going to be, because he's not a big yak guy, right? Thielen's a guy that's a possession receiver who sits down at the sticks, catches a possession ball, moves the chains, and goes down. He's not a yak guy. So I don't think you're going to get a lot of, he broke one for a TD. He's also not a down-the-field expert. He's not an X receiver that BY is going to find up over the top. He is a guy that forces defenses to stay up, forces defenses to play honest. And that opens up down the field 2 different things. It does open up down the field the opportunity for the occasional strike. Now, I am not going to go with Laviska Shenault. I'm not going to go with DJ Chark. Chark is probably the only one that I would consider if he's available late, right? And by the way, we'll do our fantasy football stuff next week to get you guys ready for your drafts, because I think for most of y'all, we're within 2 weeks of the draft. Some of y'all might already be having them. Chark's a guy that I would consider if we get to the latter rounds and he's available, because there are some folks that think he might be primed for a breakout. But I think you're going to be able to pick up John Mingo like at the end. I'm talking at the end of your draft. And he's a guy I'm intrigued by, right? Because DJ Chark is your vert wide receiver and Shenault as your gadget guy are going to be inconsistent, I think, right? You think about the battles that DJ Moore had with, say, Marshawn Lattimore down in New Orleans. It wasn't wildly consistent fantasy numbers. You'd get a spike game here and there. You'd get a, 5, 6, 7 pointer out of him every now and then. That was really it. That was because DJ was clearly the number one. I am clearly putting my best DB on DJ Chark. I am walking the defense towards the side of Adam Thielen. That makes John Mingo the wild card to me. I'm saying this both from the perspective of Panther football and looking at Panthers as potential fantasy picks. I'm actually going to ask you guys this question next week. I have heard a lot of a new strategy for fantasy drafts come out, which is the no running back strategy. Don't draft a running back, right? Don't draft a running back because even the best running backs are not going to give you buttloads of points, right? Derrick Henry goes for a massive day and he gets 100 yards, you got 10 points. If running backs aren't consistently sticking them in the end zone, they're not great pickups. So I've seen a lot of people going with the no running back strategy. Line up your pockets with wide receivers. Line up your pockets with wide receivers. Maybe draft an extra top-tier quarterback, right? Don't just grab Patrick Mahomes. Grab Patrick Mahomes and then get yourself a Matt Stafford. Get yourself a Jared Goff. Get yourself a first and a second-tier quarterback so that you have the option to flip back and forth to the hot hand. Or if a running back does start to get featured more than expected, you've got trade material there. I kind of like the idea. I kind of like the strategy, but maybe not no running backs. Maybe I'm going to wait till late. And I'm going to tell you right now, because of the team he plays on, a guy like a Miles Sanders is going to get slept on. I think there are a number of Carolina Panthers skill position players that could very well be available for you in the 9th, 10th round of a fantasy draft. And you're playing speculative numbers here, right? Like you're going off of what it could be, not what it is. John Mingo's in that group for sure. I would put Miles Sanders in that group for sure. DJ Chark might be in that group. Like I said, until I see it break open, I can't trust a guy that is a vert receiver that's been banged up a lot with a rookie quarterback. I'm not going with a vert guy in that particular setup. But it might be worth a look if you get late in the draft, you're very happy with your depth. You got 1 or 2 spots to gamble on, and he's still on the board. That being said, I don't think a lot of people are going to have him on the board. I think he's probably going to get snagged by somebody who may, like, for y'all play poker. I play poker. I suck, but I play. One of the things that my buddies who really do play poker get upset about is that I just throw caution to the wind when I play poker. And I just go in on random hands. Rob Brown's playing with a pair of 2s, and I'll bet it like I'm sitting royal flush just to see if it works sometimes, right? It's not the right play for that hand if you go by the book, but sometimes it works out. That's drafting DJ Chark this year. It's not the right way to play it, really, but maybe it works out.
Pair of 2s, really?
Again, I have chased people out of big pots on pair of 2s by betting it like it's a flush. You will chase a king high pair off the board with a low pair if you go all in and make it feel like it's a flush. That's betting on DJ Chark in a fantasy draft, right? That's what that is. Is it the right play? No. There's nothing that screams that DJ Chark is going to have a massive year. But there's nothing to say that he can't or that he won't. Texter said, hey, Mr. Brown, can you please take the time to explain what a buttload of something is to my 7-year-old since he's now asking me, you boathead? Yeah, I can take the time. I'd rather you take the time to explain to your 7-year-old what a boathead is. Go ahead. We'll wait. Let it text back when you get that response. A buttload.
Did he actually
is
say
a lot.
Did he say boat?
In the text, yes, he actually said boathead.
All right. So there you go.
Yeah.
So you didn't really catch him on that.
Here's the thing. I want you all to know.
This is not a show for kids, by the way. It's not.
Sure it is. It's a family-friendly show.
It's not a show.
It's
for
not
kids.
not a show for kids.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say. When I'm out in public, if there are kids around me, I am very respectful of my language. 100%. I got no problem with that. But if your kid can't say but, your kid's in for a long elementary school.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
They're going to be fine. Don't
if
listen.
your kid can't
don't
get
listen to
away
Rob.
with but's not a bad word. dudes.
Stop being judgmental.
I'm not being judgmental.
You
I'm
are
just
being.
saying,
You're being very
if
judgmental.
you send
right
your
now.
kid to high school and they can't say but, that's gonna be an experience for them. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you got to let them drop A-bombs on you.
Please continue listening for me. Yeah, I mean, I know Rob just turned you off by what he's saying, but keep listening for me.
If your kid doesn't know what buttload is, let me rephrase that. Your kid's heard worse than buttload.
All right, so poundage wise, how much is a buttload? I mean, you can even do your metric thing if you want, but how much is that? Don't look it up. I mean, how much do you consider to be a buttload?
First, I'm not looking it up.
Okay, all right.
Because I already know.
Oh.
Would you like to know where the term
Yeah,
buttload comes from?
Yeah, looking up buttload's probably not a good idea.
No, it's fine because it's an actual unit of measurement. It's French. A buttload is 126 gallons, and it's how they measure wine. If you want a buttload of wine, it is precisely 126 gallons. I know that. I use the term buttload because it's an actual legitimate term. It is 126 gallons is a buttload.
All right, so I don't know if he's telling the truth or not, but I will say this: he is very convincing, and it's good job, man. Good job. I would look it up, but I don't want to have to talk to engineering because I don't know what's going to pop up there if I look up buttload.
126. Scratch that.
Thank God Kevin's not on the stream today.
It is 126 to 150 gallons. I looked it up. I've always had it at 126. I looked it up to verify that I was correct because it's been a while since I've had to recall that bit of trivia. But it is 126 to 150 gallons is a buttload. So Texter's 7-year-old Uncle Rob gives you full permission to say buttload because it's an actual unit of measurement. And if you go to school and say a buttload and your teacher goes, why would you say that? You can go, that means 126 gallons. So if you have a buttload of money, it's the equivalent of having 126 gallons of wine.
So Luke on the stream says, I'm surprised the French measure wine in gallons instead of liters. I think Rob was just doing that for us because we're uncultured and we believe in, we don't follow the metric system.
Let's see here. Let's even go into the etymology, shall we?
Wow.
The term butt, the etymology of butt, B-U-T-T, is in this case a large wooden cask. So you would fill a large wooden cask with gallons of wine. And then, of course, that large wooden cask would carry 126 to 150 gallons, making it a butt load. A buttload. You're all welcome, and you're all better for it. So
I don't know if I feel better for it because wow.
There you go, Texter. I have now officially taken the time to explain what a buttload of something is to your 7-year-old. It's the equivalent of 126 gallons.
And you now understand what the conversations are like in our office because it's about stuff like that. Except Rob's less angry. Like he's mad now.
I'm just saying, if your kid's not allowed to say but, high school is going to be real weird for them.
Stop judging. Stop judging.
But.
Hey, let's take our butts to break, shall we?
We shall. But we'll be right back. My name is Rob Brown. That's the great one, Lonzo. We are back after this on the Rob Butt Show in the Fan Upstate.
You're just so mean. I'm leaving.
Bye.
But go out the door.
They'll take on the Jets at 4 o'clock. New York and Carolina holding joint practices ahead of the game. Any potential expansion of the ACC is on hold after decision makers opted not to vote Wednesday night, but potentially welcoming Stanford and Cal to the league. The Braves beat the Pirates 6-5. Michael Harris scored the winning run, tagging on an Austin Riley pop-up. He slid home ahead of the throw.
The second half of the baseball season is here, and each game means a little wild card chases, with each pitch bringing us closer to the playoffs.
Attaboy, Luke.
Andrew drops stuff as much as you do.
Play-by-play of your local team.
Yeah, but it's loud when he drops
It is. It is.
Never have to miss another game. Download the free Odyssey app today and keep baseball close by all summer long. That's AUDACY. Odyssey.
I don't know if my bid is always on break, but my butt is.
You're right, Gary. C&T can handle any foundation problem, so our customers can breathe easy and focus on what really matters. Let us handle the foundation.
I'd say at this point, Kevin, I'm never getting a real job. So, you know.
This is a real job.
No, man, real jobs pay money. That's what I've been told.
For the 100th anniversary, the U.S. Mint released the first legal tender Morgans in 100 years. They sold out instantly. Now, Morgan silver dollars are back in 2023, minted in 99.9% pure silver, but only 275,000 coins were minted, and they will go.
Yeah, in the future, could we refrain from using the word entomology? I think that's just way too. I mean, there's a level.
Entomology is the study of bugs. Etymology is the origin of words.
Pure silver Morgan dollar, but with limited quantities, you must call now. To learn more, call 1-800-859.
We get it. You're smart, Rob. Whatever.
See the free bonus Patriots pack, new and improved, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-859-1518 now to secure your new 2023 Morgan silver dollars.
So I've maintained before, just because you're the dumbest guy in the room doesn't make you dumb. Just because you're the smartest guy in the room doesn't make you smart. I mean, it's just look at the room. I'm not talking about this room because this room, you know, everybody is really smart in this room.
Yep.
I'm not smart. I'm just
The dumbest guy
clever.
in most rooms.
I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. It'd be kind of boring. Well, no. Depends on the room. You have a lot of fun with that if you try.
Oh, no need to say that, ma'am. You'll always love Navient's high efficiency that will save you money on gas bills compared to other water heaters.
I love how I have more.
There it is. He will forever use that now. Kevin and his hot dog water. Forever. You seem to be fixated on that for some reason. It does, Kevin. It also, you learn stuff because people don't think you're smart enough to understand what they're saying. At least that's what I hear tell.
Welcome back to the show that brings you a buttload of sports talk every single day. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. Texter wrote back and said, "Fan, I apologize for my ignorance on buttload. I forget we have a haughty intellectual who soon will be sportscaster of the year. Also, in my defense, I figured with the bathroom discussions that always make it on the air, buttload would have been the measurement that you heard while in there."
See, I agree. That's what I think we all were thinking, and then Rob proved us all wrong.
Texter said, "Lonzo, why are you in a bad mood, you butthead?"
He texted her butt out. Okay,
Yeah, Biff. Butthead. All right.
McFly, hello.
Texter said from the show, or Trey said on the stream, I've learned what buttload means, but I don't know anything about the trade deadline moves. Sure you do. We talk trade deadline of the MLB here on the show. The Braves didn't have to really make any. They picked up a couple of middle relievers, which I think was the weak spot. They're still trying to figure out the pitching, but at the end of the day, they've done a wonderful job building their starters, building their on-field big league team. Now they get back to doing what the Braves have always done, and that is building up the farm system. The Braves are successful because of homegrown talent, because of the fact that they have a good developmental system, because of the fact that they find guys, develop them within the franchise, and then when they get to the show, they're built in, they're ready to go. So right now they are back to stocking up the farm system, not making a push to bolster a lineup that sent their entire infield and 2 outfielders to the All-Star game, and frankly could have probably lobbied to get the third one in there as well. The Braves could have sent their entire lineup and 2 pitchers to the All-Star game. The only spot they didn't have one was the DH. So as far as they go, they did get the better of the Pirates back-to-back. Now they dropped the first one at Pittsburgh. They got the last 2, but required late-game heroics to get both of those back. That being said, they got both of those back, which I think is good. You come off of the All-Star break. Teams that are built offensively with chemistry can very frequently suffer after the break. And the Braves did. Remember, they dropped 2 out of the 3 to the White Sox. Not a good team. They dropped 2 out of 3 to Arizona. Arizona was a very good first half team. They have fallen off a little bit. Then they took 2 out of 3 against the Milwaukee. They got swept in a 2-game series by Boston. Then they swept Milwaukee in a 3-gamer. Then it kind of looked a little better. They took 2 out of 3 at home against the Angels. They dropped 2 out of 3 against Chicago. But I said this next 10-game stretch, starting with that first game at Pittsburgh a couple of nights ago, was maybe the most important 10-game stretch of the season for the Braves. You got 4 on the road at Pittsburgh. They have taken 2 out of the first 3. I'd love for them to get the 12-35er today against the Pirates. Then they're at the Mets for 4. The Mets are not a good baseball team, but the Mets have been taking it to the Cubs, the same Cubs team that took 2 out of 3 against Atlanta in their series. You got to go get the Mets 3 out of 4, preferably. Then it's back home. By the way, Monday, August 14th, the Bravos at home against the Yankees. I'm going to that game. Me and the boys decided to go over for that one. You got to take 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. Preferably, the Yankees are real bad. I'd love to have all 3. I'd love to get a homestand sweep. Then you got 3 against San Francisco. Then you got 3 against the Mets coming to your house at Truist. This is the most important 10-game stretch the Braves have left. They do have a 4-game series on the road at the Dodgers. I'd love to split that series. After that, the road through the end of the season is pretty comfortable. 3-gamer against St. Louis, 3-gamer against Pittsburgh, 4 at Philadelphia, 3 at Miami. Then back home for 3 against Philly, on the road at Washington for 4. Then 3-gamers at home against Chicago. And then 3 against Washington to end the year. You're in a good spot if you come out of the next 10 comfortable. The Rob Brown Show has 1 hour left, and we hit it when we come back. It is the Fan Upstate.
Look at what I just sent you. It's another reason why you want this game. Trust me. It's like 15 seconds long.
Where Phillies pitcher Michael Lorenzen was just 1 out away from history last night.
Swung on, pops up, shallow center field. Rojas sprinting in, he's under it. He's and Michael Lorenzen.
Poor squirrel.
I'm sure he deserved it. So I'm not passing judgment on that.
If he was eating out of my bird feeder.
But now you see things like that, and then you wonder how you make that happen if you were to make that happen, in the game.
NBA, the New York Knicks reportedly finalizing a 4-year, $81 million extension with guard Josh Hart. College sports, the ACC pursuit of Cal and Stanford for conference membership has reportedly hit significant roadblocks. I'm Peter Schwartz. Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio.
If you're hired, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager.
Would you say this building is about to bring home a buttload of statues?
Yes, I think that's fair.
Okay.
I think that's fair. Texter said, "Well, I never. You never?
There's still hope for you."
ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Does your knee pain keep getting worse? How about that pain in your shoulder or hip or back? Well, don't let them tell you steroids and surgery are your only option. Take my advice right now and call QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Rob Brown. Listen, QC Kinetics can make that pain go away with all natural advanced regenerative medicines, and they're helping people here every day with these amazing natural.
The Cards would love to get hot at any point, Marcus. Just at any point. The Cards dropped 3 out of 4 to Chicago, 2 out of 3 to the Twins, 2 out of 3 to maybe the worst team in baseball in Colorado. They did get Tampa yesterday on the road. Tough place to win. Let's see. Took 2 out of 3 from Arizona, but dropped 2 out of 3 to Chicago.
By the way, your earlier comment, Marcus, I ain't line dancing, man. That's just too easy. Like country, it's easy. I have too much rhythm to line dance. And so we all know where the line dance originally came from, and it wasn't the line dance. It ain't that country stuff. And what is boot scooting? Ooh, I almost fell. It's a 2-step. Wow.
Yes, Ahsoka drops in 2 weeks.
I think it's 2 weeks. Yeah.
I'm actually really excited about that one.
Well, I went back. I've never watched Rebels before, so
so good.
So I've watched. I'm part way through the first season, so a good portion of the characters that are going to be in that now I know who they are. I mean,
Rebels is honestly the Star Wars animated properties might be better than the live action.
And that was Filoni, the guy who's also doing all this stuff. So it makes sense that you bring his characters in. Rob gets mad when I criticize country, but I've already proved country's easy, and I could do it even further. We're going to make sure we pose for the album cover for Rob's hat while we're there Saturday night, though.
I'm doing the cool thing, though, where I let the hat block the top half of my face. Also, you know what I realized, and I'm in trouble? My new contacts aren't in, which means I have to wear my glasses Saturday. Which means that during this party, I will not be wearing my glasses because glasses and cowboy hat don't go together. Which means that during the party Saturday, I will be effectively blind. But
yes, it is, Kevin.
Doing it.
Oh, good. So I'll be going like this to you. Not that we're sitting at the same table, because you'll be sitting at the cool table and I'll be sitting with, all the uncool people.
Really, half the tables are us.
Yeah.
We are the cool tables.
Well, we'll see if we get 3 tables this year. I'll be at the spill off table, the kids' table, If there's a table where I could just sit alone, I'll have my wife go sit somewhere else, and I'll sit at a table all by myself and just glare at everybody for just a couple hours. I definitely would do that. It'd be fun. I'll just glare at Mark till he comes over and asks me to stop. QC in the first break.
Okay. The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. Ever so glad to have you guys along for the ride. We'll let you know that coming up at 8 o'clock tonight, I will be making another appearance on BetMGM tonight on the BetQL network, which airs right here on this fine station. So you get just a little extra dose of Robbie B tonight at 8 p.m. if you're listening. And also, don't forget, on Saturday from noon to 4, it is the nation's #1 syndicated baseball gambling show. It is Bet for the Cycle, hosted by former professional baseball player Cody Decker and virtual MLB professional player Rob Brown. I do a creative player on the show. I'm very good. Very good. And if that doesn't qualify me to talk baseball, I don't know what does. Saturday, noon to 4, make sure you're there for that. Texter, Lonzo. Texter said, the quarterback for Kansas City is the most overrated player in NFL history.
Thank you, Texter.
You know what that is, Texter?
That's disrespect.
Disrespect!
We hadn't said it yet today, so I have my suspicions as to who texted that.
Disrespect! Unbelievable, Texter. You just won the Chiefs the Super Bowl. Why would you do that?
Thank you.
Unreal. Just disrespect. It's what the Chiefs thrive on, man. It's what they thrive on. Let's just kind of run around some stories. I wanted to get to this one yesterday, but we got a lot of college football expansion. Don't worry. We got expansion talk in the next segment. Stay tuned. But this one's interesting.
No, we don't.
ESPN has signed a licensing deal with Penn Entertainment to create ESPN Bet.
Fight Club's in the next segment.
Oh, that's right. I blew it on the expansion. Well, I guess we got to haul through these stories because I got to get that expansion stuff in there because it's Thursday. You know what that means. I don't remember.
I mean, unless when you heard the intro.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unless you want to, leave me in the green room. I can do that. I mean, I can do that.
Nope. Penn Entertainment has signed a deal with ESPN to create ESPN Bet, a sportsbook for audiences in the United States. This is according to ESPN. Penn will rebrand its current sportsbook to ESPN Bet later this fall in the 16 states where it is licensed. The rebrand will include a mobile app, mobile website, and mutually agreed upon retail locations. Penn has agreed to pay ESPN $1.5 billion with a B dollars in cash over the next 10 years, as well as grant ESPN $500 million of warrants to purchase approximately 31.8 million common shares of Penn, with options to receive bonus awards depending on the performance of ESPN Bet. ESPN, ladies and gentlemen, is all in on the sports book movement at this point. Nationwide, the American Gaming Association estimated that last year alone, $93.2 billion was bet at sports books during the calendar year, up 63% from the same number in 2021. Legal sportsbook revenue was $7.5 billion in 2022. This is interesting for two reasons. Number one, we have seen ESPN start to lean into the betting world. We have also seen betting networks popped up. I work for one of them, BetQL. And I will tell you that when BetQL propped up, as a gambler, I was very interested. I looked at BetQL, Lonzo, and this is not meant to be disrespectful. I just got to call him as I see him here on the show. When BetQL popped up, I looked at it the same way I look at AEW. in the world of professional wrestling, right? Do I ever think that a gambling network is going to kick down doors and get on par with Fox Sports, CBS Sports, ESPN? No. I think it's a niche product for a small audience that prefers a different approach to their entertainment. And as a gambler, I love it. I love BetQL. I love the app. This is not me blowing smoke because I work for them. I'm being serious. This was all before they asked me to do a show.
Hey, aren't you like on?
I sure am on the BetQL Network Saturdays noon to 4.
No,
I'm back for the cycle.
Tonight, didn't you say you were?
Yeah, 8 o'clock. I'll be on BetMGM tonight. I'll have some baseball plays for you this evening.
Try to set you up, dude.
I appreciate it. When BetQL fired up, I was a fan. Before I worked for him, I was a fan. And I was a fan because, again, I like some entertainment that is outside of the norm, right? Within the world of sports talk entertainment, there's a lot of people, a lot of different groups. There's the groups like the Hot Take Artist, one of whom the other day got very mad because he doesn't like being labeled a hot take artist, which was hilarious because of the fact that he is, which made that his hottest take. There are others who very clearly aren't paying attention to what they're talking about. Like, for instance, earlier this week, when one of them was going through his list of quarterbacks that can't win the Super Bowl and listed Dwayne Haskins in that group. Now, I will say, technically he's correct, but you don't need to mention that guy. Shows me that you're not really, mistakes happen.
Yeah, but I mean, this is one of those things. Big shows like that, they have like 10 producers.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of people putting stuff together. But when you're reading through that on the air, you have to look at that and go, wait a minute. No.
Yeah.
And instead, or you don't know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. It could be that one. It could be that one that
Yeah.
you don't know what you're talking about. It could be that one. I don't know.
That's the sign to me is somebody else is writing out your takes and you don't know what you're talking about. Mistakes happen on the air. Trust me, I make them all the time. Last week on the show, I was on BetQL, and I got about 1 billion tweets because I mentioned an AL Central team, and I said NL Central. That's a mistake. That happens. Saying Dwayne Haskins, who passed away tragically in a traffic accident, a year and a half ago, can't win the Super Bowl, kind of egregious. Anyway, not what we're talking about. Point is, there's all these different worlds or types within sports talk radio, but they're all sports talk radio. I like having something different in wagertainment. I like having something different in bringing some gambling into my sports talk world. I never thought it would get this big. Never thought it would get this big. Again, I'm very happy about it. Because the more that stuff like this pops up and the more people get into it, the more likely it is that sports wagering becomes legal in South Carolina. Please and thank you. If you don't want to wager, don't. But don't stop me from doing it because I do. I just didn't. I didn't think it would get this big. There are entire shows on the 4 Letters television network now that are gambling shows, right? They set like an hour a day out of their television schedule just to talk numbers, just to talk books. This is an enormous development in that world, and I am quite happy to see it. All right, let me get one more story in here. Ross Dellinger is reporting that the ACC leadership met last night to have a discussion about the addition of Cal, Stanford, and SMU into the conference as for part of its next round of expansion. As of now, that is not going to happen because in order to expand, the ACC needs 12 of its 15 schools to give the old thumbs up. Last night, according to reports, there were 4 schools that said no. 15 schools because while Notre Dame is not a full-fledged member of the ACC in the world of football, they do get a vote. Notre Dame reportedly voted for Stanford, Cal, and SMU to join, but there were 4 schools who did not. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here, Lonzo. I'm going to say Clemson did not vote for expansion. I'm going to say Florida State did not vote for expansion. I'm going to say North Carolina did not vote for expansion, which means there's one more. And the thought is it's either Miami or Virginia. I don't know which one it might be. What I do know is none of the schools who want out of the ACC are going to vote for expansion. Why would they? Right? I would also say I'd be shocked. I'm actually shocked 12 did, right? Because here's the thing. There's a couple of things at play.
I don't know why you would say that Clemson would be one that would say no to it. What do they care if more teams?
Out. They want out.
Then what do they care if other teams come in?
If other teams come in, the profit margin goes up. It goes up barely. It goes up, but it creates a situation where it is harder to get out because remember, you got to have a supermajority to vote to disband the conference, and they are pushed against the wall by the 2036 GOR expiration. So if they allow Cal, Stanford, and SMU to come in, not only are they not going to make but a couple more million a year, because keep in mind, even if, here's the other part of that story that comes out. Apparently, Lonzo, SMU, in asking for an expansion invite into the ACC, apparently came up with a boatload of boosters who were willing to fund SMU's athletic department out of their own pocket for up to 5 years so that SMU could say to the ACC, if you let us in, you don't have to pay us $1 for the first 5 years we're a member. We'll take care of ourselves. That's pretty enticing if you're the ACC. It also adds one more vote to the do not disband category, which would lock Clemson, FSU, Miami, North Carolina, I think the 4, maybe Virginia, into the conference till 2036. Stanford and Cal, according to reports, would get paid out 70 to 80% of the ACC's revenue payout at the end of the year. The rest of that money would go back to the ACC schools in play, right? So they would get 70% in the neighborhood, 70% of the payout. The other 30% of their payout would go back into the kitty to be dispersed to the rest of the conference. But here's the thing. The belief is that money, the additional money that would be received by the ACC schools, would be just enough to offset the cost of travel to go play games, matches, events, and meets out in California multiple times a year. So the schools aren't getting any more money. Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, and then either Miami or Virginia, maybe both, we don't know, because the rumor is 4, but there could be 5 or more other schools who said no to the expansion, the addition of Cal, Stanford, and SMU. Those 4 would get a little bit more money every year, but they would have to turn around and effectively give it right back in order to facilitate travel of their non-revenue producing sports, i.e. everything except football and maybe for a couple of them basketball. They would have to take all that money, put it back into travel to travel out to California to play matches, meets, games, and events. And there's one more vote against disbanding the conference. So why would they vote for those? That's why this got shot down. What little bit of extra money would be gained by the ACC schools, they don't get. And it becomes harder to leave the grant of rights agreement. Because here's the thing, if you're a Pac-10 school or SMU's got wealthy enough boosters that are willing to cover their conference cost for 5 years. They're just happy to be here till they get 5 years from now, and then they can start getting that conference money. Stanford and Cal would only get that 80%. But again, the 80% they're going to get from the ACC is more than the Pac-12 was ready to pay out, right? They would be getting for the next couple of years in the ballpark of like $30 million. The Pac-12 couldn't come up with a plan that paid $30 million to all the schools. That's why it doesn't exist anymore. So what's the incentive there for Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, and either Miami or Virginia to say yes? We're going to get, at the end of the day, the same amount of money, because what little benefit we get back is going to go into the travel cost, but maybe another couple $1 million a year. And we lose whatever chance we have to disband the conference down the road. Is that good enough? Nope. Why would they vote yes for that? So I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised by any of this. Like Cal and Stanford were like, hey, we're smart guy schools. We're academic schools. Let us in for the academics. And while ACC presidents are absolutely going to look you in the face and go, oh, you know, the academic side is important to us. We want to have a prestigious conference when it comes to research and education. Dude, none of this, as we said on yesterday's show, is being driven by anything more than money. That's why Cal and Stanford aren't catching an invite. That is why SMU, despite the fact that they would be putting their $30 million back in the pot to be distributed to the rest of the schools, including Stanford and Cal, if they got in at the same time, that's why they got said no to. They're not bringing enough to the table for us to take the ability to kill the GOR down the road off of it.
I just want to say, it ain't dead till it's dead. And it still would not shock me if by the end of the day, they're members of the ACC. Because it was only, you said, what, 4 members stopping this?
4 or 5.
Just like when politicians are trying to get something passed through, then several of them, you know, go behind closed doors and talk to those people. I'm sure the ones who want this to happen are talking to those 4. And how many do they have to get to turn? Like 1?
So the Pac-12 didn't need anybody to turn.
I'm talking about the ACC. Which if they get one team to change its mind about it, it works, right? It happens.
Yes and no.
If it's 4, you take it down, so then there's only 3 opposing.
So there's 15 voting members. They need 12, right? There are 4 saying no, which means that they would need 1 more. If it's 4, I've heard the number could be 5. But again, the 4 that have said no, there's no reason for any of them to change their vote.
But you don't know. You don't know who those 4 are.
I know it's Clemson. I know it's Florida State. I know it's North Carolina. I guarantee, I would bet $1 billion those are 3 of the 4. I don't know who the 4th is. It's either Miami or Virginia or both, and there's 5. But I guarantee you FSU shot it down. I guarantee you Clemson shot it down. And I guarantee you North Carolina shut it down.
By the way, Rob doesn't know. He doesn't have sources. So don't quote him as saying that he knows. He's speculating. Too many people will grab the soundbite and go, that you said for sure it happened, and you don't know that. And I think any of those schools can be turned if all those other ones come to them and offer them incentives somehow.
Let me clear that up. I know that that 3 of the 4 are Clemson, Florida State, and UNC, the same way I know my car is parked down there. I'm 99% sure. Is there a chance that while I was in the room, that rainstorm washed it away? Sure. Is there a chance I've been carjacked in my car? By the way,
I understand you're confident. I'm just trying to look out for you here.
I get it, and I appreciate it. So I accept what you're saying, and let me be very clear. I have a very strong belief that North Carolina, Florida State, and Clemson are 3 of the 4 that shot it down. I think, with far less confidence, that the 4th was probably Miami, could have been Virginia, maybe both. I say that like I believe my car is in the parking lot. I got a very good reason to believe that it is. That's where I left it. I locked it. I've been driving to the studio for coming up on 4 years. It's never been taken. But there's a chance I've been carjacked and my car is gone. There's a chance that there was a flash flood while I was in the Fortress of Nerditude and it was washed off into the Reedy. There's all kinds of reasons it wouldn't be there, but I'm pretty damn sure that it's there. I'm pretty damn sure it would have been Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina that were 3 of the 4 that said no, and there was either 4 or 5, with the 4th being Miami or Virginia or maybe both.
But will you concede that it is within the realm of possibility that the other schools could come to 1 or 2 of those schools and get them to change their mind? You don't
no.
think there's any way to
I
get
don't.
them to change their mind?
Because there's not an addition of money that makes FSU happy, that makes Clemson happy, that makes North Carolina happy. And I think the other school, be it Miami or Virginia, is in the same boat. They may not think they have the valuation of those three schools, but no, I don't think there is any because here's why. SMU has already said, we'll cover ourselves for 5 years. 5 years, you can just keep our money. Stanford and Cal said, we'll accept 70% of our money. The other 30% from both schools can be 30 cent. That's my rap name. The other 30% of both schools can be distributed amongst those of you that are already members. There's your incentive. And these 4 schools said no to that. One school you get for free for 5 years. The other 2 you get for 70% for 5 years. And they said no to that. I don't think there's enough money in any source that could be involved here that any of those schools flip their votes. This is not happening. I am confident in saying that. I don't have sources. I don't know for a fact, but I can speculate with great confidence the ACC is not expanding. It's just not. Let's take a break, ladies and gentlemen. It's Thursday. You know what that means. When we come back, it's time for Fight Club with the great one, Lonzo. We'll catch up with everything going on in boxing, MMA, professional wrestling, and more. That's next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Juicy.
All right, guys, live read. We're back for Fight Club. Stay right there.
It's finally worth it. Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Get 4 lines on Silver Unlimited for $25 per line per month, plus taxes and fees. For data management practices and additional terms, visit straighttalk.com.
Sponsored by Jeff Martin Auctioneers. Don't miss the Jeff Martin Auctioneers automobile auction in Pelzer.
I believe the dude on the right, I believe that's Creed Humphrey. And if he can pull that off, so can I.
You are welcome to go Chiefs over.
That is the starting center for the Kansas City Chiefs. And yeah. Would you wear something like that? I definitely would to work. Yeah, so just found some Chiefs over overalls. They look good. Should send that to Cameron and see if he could actually find them for my birthday, which is next month. Welcome into the Fight Club, where one of us shook the hands of a Hall of Famer who allegedly ended up in the infectious disease ward. And, you know,
don't you thought I was going perfect this week? I really did. Thought I was going perfect this week. Don't put that voodoo on me, Ricky Bobby.
We don't know that it's not you because you've been struggling with the voice all week. So I'm just saying. So shout out to JR. Hope he gets healthy. Let's start by talking about the experience that Rob had at Collision Saturday. And what would you say overall? So as far as AEW goes, so you've been to WWE shows at the Well and you've been to AEW shows. Is it fair to compare the two? Is it fair to compare the crowds? Because we know that there is some crossover, but AEW crowds are a little bit more raucous.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say as a frequent attendee of both, because we got Raw coming in
October
30th,
yeah.
Which means we get the Halloween Raw, which means we're going to get a Halloween street fight. Can't wait.
Ooh, so do we dress up for that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I didn't think about that.
For sure. I may go Elias. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, it was here's I've always put it this way. AEW is a company that is putting their product out there for adult wrestling fans who want adult wrestling themes, which also means you're going to get a more adult crowd, although I absolutely did hear a couple of bleep you chants at the last at Raw on Monday. AEW is always going to be a more sparsely attended event, right? Because even if you are in for adult wrestling, if you got kids, I'm not saying AEW isn't kid friendly. There was a 8 or 9 year old kid next to me who was losing his mind over Punk, over JR. It was great to see the future of wrestling is in good hands, but most people are not going to bring their young kids to an AEW show, which weeds out a lot of people who might otherwise be there. It was also up against SummerSlam that night. And I know some people personally that were like, I would actually go to that show, but I want to watch SummerSlam. It's a big show. And I got that. You want to watch it live without the spoilers. I will tell you this. It was a smaller crowd than I've seen there for SmackDown and Raw. It was every bit as energetic, if not more so. The crowd was into that show, and it was great. They popped when they knew they were there. They popped for stuff that got them excited. Ricky the Dragon coming out. JR was a surprise. That was nice to see. It was phenomenal. It was a great, energetic, electric crowd, and I'm not taking credit for it, but it was totally because of me.
All right, so I would say anytime you watch any wrestling promotion or sports promotion at all, and you see those guys or girls or whoever behind the camera when the camera is on them going nuts, and you ever wondered, who's that kind of person? He is. That's him right there. That's that guy.
Oh, for sure. Listen, we started a chant for the Gun Club that was picked up on the mic.
Thank you for not. Yeah.
Well, this is your segment.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
After Texter said, just had to let my son know that the dam you were referring to holds back the buttload of water you were talking about earlier. No, listen. if you go to that show, like you go to enjoy the show, you go to be into the show. It's wrestling. It's fun. It's just fun. I was explaining to Captain America Chris Evans down the hall earlier that I go to a wrestling show the same way you might go see a play. Yes, of course there's a script. Yes, of course the results are
Except you can't yell and scream that way.
Correct,
at a
but
play.
I get to be part of it, right?
Right.
Like, which is why, for instance, Rocky Horror Picture Show, if you've never gone to see a live production, do it. It is a friggin' blast because you're part of it.
By the way, you can go see a movie version of it and still participate.
Yeah,
by the way,
it's fun
because they usually have people in the crowd that that used to be one of the things that we would do on a Friday night. Sometimes would just go.
The fiance is upset. I told the story of when we were in Boston a couple of I guess about a year and a half ago now. I went to the Boston Tea Party Museum, right? And when you're there, they do a reenactment of the town hall meeting that led up to the Boston Tea Party, and they gave me a part in that. And I'm a huge dork, so obviously I said, yeah, I want to be.
Why is this the first time hearing of this?
Really? I'll tell you the whole story after it's over.
Yeah.
But I got to play the role of a founding father on the night of the Tea Party, which was incredible. Well,
you weren't Ben Franklin, were you?
No, I really wanted to be, but no.
Right.
The future in-laws, the sister and future brother and sister-in-law, gave us for Christmas a ticket, a couple of tickets to go to a murder mystery theater in Charleston next time we're over there. That you get a character and you're part of it, and I'm stupid excited. She is not so much.
Well, maybe she's less excited because she knows how into it you're going to be. So
100%.
Yeah.
So I like to be part of that show, and when people get excited, it's contagious. So it bleeds outwards, right? And that's AEW. I think with WWE, people are there, and especially considering, like I've said, with WWE, it is stories that lead to wrestling matches. Whereas with AEW, it's wrestling that has some stories there. You didn't go at that show. You didn't go for more than 15 minutes tops before there was another match starting. And there's stuff to be excited about. I thought they did a great job. And honestly, I just thought it was a good show.
All right. So this is leading to my next question because I have a theory about this. Is Collision the A show now?
I'm going to say,
especially after, I don't know if you watched last night, but Dynamite was not that good.
No, I've heard it wasn't.
Yeah, it was, there were botches all over the place. It didn't seem to flow well. It was, if you look at that compared to how Collision was this past Saturday and how it's been so far, it looks like they're putting more time or maybe, or whatever into the Saturday show than they are their number one show.
I don't think that's it. Let me tell you what I honestly think it is. When AEW started, the reason it was so great out the gate was because Tony basically went to the wrestlers and said, do a show, right? You guys come up with your stories. And when it got picked up by TNT and TBS and they were doing weeknight shows, I think it kind of got to the point where the networks were like, you got to have a little more control over this. Like, it can't just be a free-for-all. We can't have MJF going out there and calling you a bleeping mark on live TV. You got to get some control. I feel like Collision is the wrestler's show. I think Christian Cage is the one that comes up with the idea to call security on his own child, a segment that was hilarious. I think it is. There's a reason Punk's wrestling on Saturdays and not Wednesdays or Fridays, because Punk gets to go out there with Ricky Starks and they get to tell the story the way wrestlers tell it. And it has a different feel to it, which is why I don't think they're doing anything different with Saturday than Wednesdays. I just think Saturdays they go, it's on Saturday, go do whatever you want. And the wrestlers get to make the show, and that makes it better.
By the way, I just, watching last night, Taz said something to Tony Schiavone, you're going to be there Saturday, right? And then there was a hesitation. You and I had a theory that Tony was not here.
I don't think it's a theory. I don't think if Schiavone's there, you trot him out at least once.
Yeah, because he said
audience.
Something about working on Saturday. Yeah. So I don't think that he does that.
Even if it's during the dark matches or after, like if it's during ROH, you bring Schiavone out just to wave to the live crowd so they get to say we saw Tony Schiavone. We never saw Schiavone. We never saw the Acclaim. They all had segments. We never saw Christian Cage and Luchasaurus. They were, I think that, and this is fine, they're filming segments after Dynamites and after Rampage to use for Saturday, and then they're just sending the wrestlers that have matches, which again is a fine way to handle it because that show is every segment's a wrestling match.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how if it falls off in a couple weeks when college football comes back. I'm interested to see how. And I'm not talking about ratings wise. I'm talking about how put together it is, because if you're a fan, you're going to DVR it and watch it later, which is what I do. So
I still think the show is going to be entertaining because, like I said, I think that it's the show the wrestlers make. So I still think it's going to be the best AEW show. It is going to suffer in the ratings because, hey, even Rob is going to watch a live college football game over wrestling, and I'm a wrestling fan. I'll come back and watch it later in the week. But the fact that they have put this show together, and we were all tailgating before, me, Joey B, Jack, all our P1s that were all together, all of us together were like, this is the better of the show. Like, if we're going to get an AEW show, I would rather have a 65% of the well-filled up Collision than Dynamite or Rampage. That's not to say either of those shows are bad. It's just the Collision. If you were a old school wrestling fan who wants an adult wrestling show, Collision's the way to go.
All right. Last couple of things about AEW. The JAS looks like it is no more. They all said goodbye to Jericho last night. Also, RVD, dude, it looked really good. He did a couple spots that his age he probably shouldn't be able to do, but he's deceptively still as fast as you remember, and it doesn't look right because he looks so slow and prodding, and then suddenly he pulls off a move. It's like, whoa, where did that come from? So, but we know how he medicates later, so he's probably not feeling too much after he's done. Finally, for AEW, I don't know if you saw, there's been an engagement announced between Rhea Ripley and Buddy. Do you think Dom is the reason why this engagement is happening?
No, they've been together for a while, and I think Buddy got to the point. Look, at some point, you get a chick like Rhea, you lock it up. I'm surprised it took this long. Again, Rhea's having fun with it. Dom's having fun with it. I don't think Buddy cares that much because it wouldn't have lasted this long if he did.
You made sure he got that picture out there, though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, she did too. It was up on it.
Yeah.
I would be more concerned if it was like only on. I had a buddy back in the day who was dating a girl who was just a smoke show dude, like out of his league. And then you'd go to the social and like his Facebook feed was like, I'm out with so-and-so, and here's our picture, and here's a selfie I took, and here's us on date night, and this is us dressed up. And then you go to her page, and, like, he didn't exist on it. And we were all like, bro, dude. And then, shockingly, it turns out she was totally dating, like, 4 different dudes, and our buddy was one of them. I don't want to get into the Young and the Restless version of wrestling. I'm just going to say, Buddy Murphy, well done, young man.
I thought the picture was funny. All right, let's get to WWE real quick, and then I got something for UFC. Brock Lesnar hugs Cody Saturday after SummerSlam, supposedly unscripted according to Triple H. Passing of the torch, not passing of the torch.
I mean, no, because Brock wasn't holding a torch.
I was just saying, did he have a torch to pass?
Brock, you know what Brock is? Brock is the boss you fight, and you beat that boss. And then the music changes to like a Latin chant and the room goes dark and you're like, oh, now we're at the final.
Yeah, but a lot of time that pre-boss fight, the boss before the boss is the harder fight.
Sure. And Brock, listen, the Brock is, and by the way, can we just point out Brock Lesnar deserves more respect than he gets, because that dude has been in the game that long. He's that age and he's still putting on incredible matches. That was a genuinely fun, good match.
Oh, it was.
And for a handful of minutes, I was like, oh my God, they're gonna have Cody loose.
Yeah, and him, don't get up, that was really
great.
Good. Yeah, it was.
No, I called that shot. That was the match Cody had to win. And on top of that, to have Brock, who is still riding, like it or not, as the guy who beat the streak, for him to go, this guy earned my respect, is a big bump for Cody. You're getting Cody v. Roman at WrestleMania. I don't know if it's for the belt or not.
Because
I assume it will be.
Every time Cody shows up to supposedly challenge for Seth Rollins, someone always interrupts it. And they got to know that everyone's thinking, oh, Cody's going to get the consolation belt.
I was going to say, now, the difference is, yes, you and I and a lot of other wrestling fans kind of look at Seth's belt as the consolation belt. Hunter and the gang are trying to push that as an equal belt. Putting it on Cody is going to be their argument. See, we wouldn't give it to this guy if it wasn't as big of a belt, because I don't know how you tell the bloodline story having anybody but an Uso take that belt off of Roman, despite what happened.
All right, one last thing. We're not going to talk about Jake Paul because that always makes him mad. So we're not going to do that, even though we do like seeing him animated. There's a big promotion out there recently, according to some of the stories I'm reading, according to sources, met with some major people in charge trying to get a fight in the Coliseum. The Coliseum. But apparently he knows what it is. So the Coliseum, when you think of the Coliseum, you think, lions and things like that. So
gladiators, actual people.
So Dana White has met with officials to try to get the Zuck versus Musk fight in the Coliseum. Come on, dude. Come on. As much as you're making all the faces and all that, that's cool though. That's going to be yes, it will. No. I don't care what he says. I think this steps it up. It does.
It doesn't. The Coliseum is a place where gladiators fought for their lives and died in search of their freedom. And we're going to send two freaking dorks there who are not fighters to pretend like they are bona fide warriors. I am tired of catering to the BS fantasies of these two little dorks like they are some monument to real masculinity and manhood. No, I'm tired of letting Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg walk around like they are what we should all aspire as fighters to. No, I'm tired of playing to their fragile, stupid little egos. Do not disrespect a place of history and honor amongst actual gladiators with these two dork-ass losers.
I don't know. I think Christians were actually throwing the lions there too. So I don't know if there's any honor.
Even more of a reason not to disrespect it with the fantasies of these two dorks.
All right, as someone who has his foot planted in two different places, sports and nerddom, I want to see this, because watching two nerds go at it, it sounds entertaining. You put it, speaking of entertaining, when Elon Musk raises his hand in victory and says, "Are you not entertained?" Yeah, I mean, come on. It's already written. It's already written. I can't wait for that.
Disrespecting a place of honor and integrity, a place where warriors fought and died, and sure, let's throw the other aspect in too, a place where people were sacrificed for their convictions and beliefs, and we're going to let these two losers go play out their fantasies. Why? How is that? You know what I'd rather have?
Turn in
actual UFC fight.
Yeah, well.
Dana, if you're going to book the Coliseum, put Israel Adesanya in there. Let's watch an actual fighter.
Hey, they let Phil Brooks fight. Anyone can fight. So why not have this in the Coliseum? You're a loser, Phil. You're a loser.
Twitter trending topics is next.
No, it's not.
Elon.
No, it's not.
We're back after this to talk about things people have tweeted on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Bring the blue check marks. Bring them all.
An emergency vehicle has just made its way into the.
They just want some chicken salad.
I hope that's all. Dude, really? Really? Do not run into my car with the stinking fire truck. Oh, it was so close. And now you're back in the park there. No.
They hit it?
It was that close. I didn't see it.
No, they didn't. They know what they're doing. These boys know what they're doing.
I will not let you disrespect.
I am not disrespecting. Yeah. Just because, I mean, come on. That was way too close to my car. Because if my car is going to get hit, it's going to be like something like a fire truck. Yes, my blood pressure up a little bit because I walked over and this close. I'm telling you, this is not a fish story. this close. And that big old bumper would have went right through my window. It was as low as my car sits. Although that's a way to get a new one, I suppose. But, you know. Wow, I'm almost as mad as you were about Elon and. Well, calm down. We saw pictures, man. It looked like there was a lot of people there for sure. My head hurts worse now.
Right now at Wendy's, when you buy either Dave's single spicy chicken sandwich, medium frosty, or 10-piece nuggets, you can get another for just $1. Your dollar never tasted so good. So it's obvious what everyone will get, right?
Definitely nuggets and a frosty. Dave's single and a frosty for me.
And a frosty. Okay, who said frosty and a frosty? Pick your obvious choice. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, buy one, get one for $1. Limited time only. Price participation may vary. Wendy's valid for items equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined in a combo or any other offer.
Success is picking up extra shifts, but now you want to be the boss. Success is getting your foot in the door, but now you want to take the next step. Success looks different to everyone.
Not the fire department, just those guys that are walking across right now.
Firemen?
Yeah, those guys. No, it was dude in the half suspender. It's not suspenders. They're carrying their things.
Their radio.
Yeah, they're carrying their radio across them.
Over here disrespecting.
I am not. It was close. Those are some.
Yeah, the fake hate list is annoying, isn't it?
By the way, those are some well-built individuals. Those are some large guys.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
drive their truck by your car anymore.
Oh, I might. Then I'll sign autographs for them, and they'll be on their way. I legitimately was worried he was going to hit my car.
They just made the Lonzo list. Yeah, hey, FG, how was
Chances are I just would have cried.
How was the crowd? I know there was a ton of them, but were they into it?
Yeah, I just kind of mentioned that was because again, you don't listen to me.
I was over here trying to take a breather from you disrespecting those fine hard.
I was not disrespecting the fire department. You know, if you can't drive, you can't drive. It doesn't matter who you work for. Obviously, they can drive because they didn't hit it. If they did hit it, then that would be the opposite of that. And I might have walked out before the show was over if I looked over and saw my car get hit. But I also work with someone who could just walk around here and, and take over. So there's that.
Switch to my plan from Verizon and get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV on us with eligible phone purchase and unlimited plus. A value of up to $4.
I remember going in the days when the team was really good, when Cam was there and he'd play the crowd and everything. That was usually a pretty big crowd. Yeah. So this was bigger than that, it looks like. All thanks to Aaron Rodgers, of course, but still. Time to tell you about what's Xing today. I just realized most people, all the people on the stream can't hear this, so they don't know that we've been doing this for a little bit, and every time we do the X, Rob wants to do the DX to Elon. I don't know why that is, but All right, the first thing that is Xing, is Phil.
I'm assuming Mickelson.
Yes.
And it is because we are learning more about old hefty lefty, not so hefty lefty anymore. Phil got rid of the sturdy.
I'm guessing this might be what you wanted to talk about earlier, but maybe I'm wrong.
So there's a lot of different golf stories going on right now. We had some PGA Tour players meet with Jay Monahan earlier this week. They said they walked away with more questions and an unclear set of answers. Jay Monahan said that the reason that he had to bail out to go to the hospital was because of the amount of stress that he was under from the Live Tour PGA Tour merger just dragged him down. But Phil is also in the news because Phil said that he believes he may have gambled as much as $1 billion. Billion. Phil may have gambled as much as $1 billion and believes that he may have lost as much as $100 million over his gambling career. I don't have words.
Is that bad though?
For that,
if you've bet $1 billion and you've only lost $100 million, is that
you lost $100 million?
Well, what's your profit though? It's
you lost $100 million.
Yeah, but
his net profit is minus $100 million. The amount that he bet is irrelevant.
No, but if you bet $1 billion, but you only lost a portion of that, that means you won more than you lost, right?
No, he lost $100 million. That means he kept $990 million that he gambled, but he lost $900 million?
That's right. So that's
he still lost. He has $100 million less dollars than he had when he started gambling. That's insane.
So it's like you betting $100, but you lost 10.
Right. I'm still down $10.
Right.
I still have 90.
So you
but
get
I've lost 10.
Are you getting the point?
Lost.
Yeah, but you've made 90.
No, it means he took $1 billion and gambled it.
Yes.
It means that he won enough to bring back $900 million. He lost 100. It's his money. He didn't win $1 billion.
All right.
He bet 100. He bet $1 billion of his own dollars, and then lost 100 million of his own dollars, and still has $900 million.
Phil, it's your money. Do what you want to with it.
I don't disagree.
I mean, you are not the only guy who makes a lot of money. Who's out there. I mean, we've heard about Michael Jordan. We know there are a lot of these big time business owners and politicians and stuff when they're out on the golf course making bets. If you got the money, do it. If you don't, then don't.
Listen,
do it.
Let me be clear. It's his money. He do whatever the hell he wants, right? That's all he wants. I'm just going to say, it's like if I go out and bet $1. To me, whatever. I'm at $1. Who cares? To somebody who doesn't have any money at all, you might be like, why are you just throwing $1 away? That's ridiculous. If Phil's got $1 billion, 100 million, I mean, it's still a hefty amount of money, but it's not like going to break the bank for him. But to me, losing $100 million is bat boat insanity, Phil.
By the way, as we go bye-bye, I don't hate the fire department. Those guys just nearly hit my car, and
panicked.
And it scared me, all right?
He panicked. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us. We hope you have a glorious rest of your Thursday afternoon. When we come back here in just a minute, 21 hours, we'll do a better job. And then we go off to Columbia to see who's bringing home the Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year award from the South Carolina Broadcasters Association. Y'all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later. Yeah! If I meet Rob Brown, I will kindly introduce myself, offer my hand and shake, then quick knee to stun him and drop in a DDT. You're going to go DDT out of the gate.
I know he's kind of tall.
Okay.
I mean, so
hard
if
to
you
hit
can,
a DDT, you got to get that. Yeah, because I'm not. I mean, I'm a big boy. I'm sturdy.
I suggest F5 if you can do it.
Oh my God, yes, it is LARPing, Trey. It is. Elon and Zuck are LARPing as fighters. That's a great call. Great call.
Yeah, but they're going to try to throw real punches, and one of them may cry. I don't think you cry in LARPing. I've never LARPed before, so I don't know. But
losers, why does this make me more angry than anything else Elon has done so far? And he's done a lot of dumb stuff.
He hasn't really done anything other than change the name to X and allow everyone to speak freely. I don't know what else he's done.
Very, very dumb. I already could speak freely.
Are you speaking freely on Threads?
I'm not even using Threads.
I mean, you know.
It's books, but I don't have it.
Suddenly people just ain't talking about it anymore. It was the big thing, you know. I can care less either way, but disappeared from the zeitgeist or whatever you want to call it. I gave it a shot.
You did? Oh no, you nailed the pronunciation.
I think I used it properly in the right context, but I don't know.
All right, dudes and dudettes, you're all spectacular people. We appreciate you hanging out with us every single day. Come back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. Have a lovely rest of your day. We wish you the best. Goodbye.